I didn't have to mute.
残酷的冒泡赛也是马上要开始了，在比赛开始前，我们也要采访一下，在常规赛最后一轮确保自己晋级到季后赛的 PHR8战队，让我们来跟他们连线一下吧。Hello， 欢迎接受到我们的采访。那也是第一个问题，想问一下，总结一下自己这一整个赛季、整个队伍的一个表现吧。你觉得如果要评一个 MVP 的话，你会给谁呢？
Hello, Tassad. Please summarize your team's performance during the regular season, and who do you think would be your team's MVP?
I'm very happy with my team's performance during the regular season. We basically performed very well against all the teams below us, and I think we picked up 1 or 2 points against the teams above us, which we could have definitely achieved more with a little bit more luck in some matches. And I think the best performance in this season so far has been done by Goblin, with quite some great performances against Vayner, for example, and Hero Marine and some other matches.
总的来讲，我对我们本赛季的表现，常规赛表现是非常的满意的。大家表现也都是非常的好。我们比
I was unmuted. I was hello chat. Hello. I'll let you listen.
可能会做得更好一些。那么我们本队的 MVP 选手，我觉得应该给到 Goblin。
那这一次其实你们是以1分的优势进入到了我们的季后赛，在最后一轮对阵到 OFS 级的赛前，你们有做一些特殊的准备吗？当队伍最后锁定季后赛位席的时候，当时是怎么想的？跟我们分享一下吧。
Your team entered the playoffs with 1 point advantage in this league. So did you do any special preparation before the last round against the OFSG? And the second one is, what were the thoughts when you were when the match went into ace to secure the playoff?
We knew that this is gonna come down to the last match against OG or offside basically, and that it's gonna matter a lot. And we also knew that it's very likely that if we get 1 point or more, that it will be true. Because in our mind, Mystery Gaming was not very favored against Twisted Fairies, but obviously we were a bit anxious in going into the match, and there was quite some tension about the ace match in the end, because if you would have won, you wouldn't have had to worry about the match on the day after at all.
打 OFSG 的时候肯定是对我们很重要，特别是那1分，而且打 Twisted Fairy 的时候确实是很艰苦，但是其实打到 Ace 的时候，我们觉得只要集中精神就可以了。
最后还是成功晋级到了我们的季后赛。那你觉得这一次你们队伍的季后赛成绩会比以往更进一步吗？有为了这一次季后赛做什么样的准备呢
？Do you think your team can do better in this playoffs? Do you have any special training for this playoff?
Well, I think compared to last time we entered playoffs almost a year ago, I would say the team is in a stronger position. But the problem this time is that we are facing a way stronger opponent who is probably the best Protoss in the world on their roster. And since this is an Oracle format, I think we are definitely not the favorites this time. When we last time faced SSLT, I think was it, where they had Firefly, I think we were basically the favorites, but Firefly performed admirably in these playoffs back then. I think this time we are definitely not the favorites, and it's gonna come down to if we can beat MaxPax twice. I think we have a shot at that, but we're definitely not the favorites.
比起去年来讲，我们毫无疑问是变强了，但是有一个比较严峻的问题，就是我们的对手变得也更强了，所以可能我们不是本次季后赛里边最得意的这样一支最受益最强的队伍，除非我们就是击败 MaxPax 2次吧，我们只能期待这种事情可以发生。
奇迹都是有可能发生的，全力以赴吧。那最后一个问题是，马上就要对阵到 PSI 战队了，你觉得威胁最大的选手是谁？对他们放一句狠话吧。
So you're about to face PSI. Who do you think is the biggest threat did you prepare any trash talk or tough words?
I think the biggest threat is MaxPax, and we'll see what we can do to take him out, and hopefully we'll be able to beat him twice and not only just once like we did in the regular season.
对我们来讲，我们最大的威胁毫无疑问是 MaxPax。只能说我们尽力把它拿下啊，争取拿下它第2次。
好的，那也是祝你们在季后赛可以有好的发挥。感谢接受到我们的采访 ，Thank you, good luck。好的，那么他们的队伍也是以常规赛第7名的一个位次锁定到了季后赛。面对到强敌，是要继续延续自己火热的状态，希望他们在季后赛的舞台可以越走越远。那接下来的话，我们也是要来采访一下他们的对手 PSI， 我们也是要跟他们来简单的进行一下连线。那么在等待连线的过程当中，我们各位观众朋友们可以关注我们星际老男孩微信公众号，每天关于我们的直播内容，包括我们的赛事安排，都会在上面作为预告，还有很多有意思的直播切片，很多的特惠内容也会在上面，千万不要告诉别人哦，这是孙哥告诉你的，这是孙哥跟你们的小秘密，大家可以关注我们星际老男孩公众号。好的，那我们的采访已经准备就绪，让我们来连线一下吧。Hello， 欢迎接受到我们的采访。那也是先总结一下这一整个赛季整个队伍的一个表现吧。你觉得属于你们队伍的 MVP 是谁呢
？Welcome to our interview. Please summarize your team's performance during the regular season, and who do you think would be your team's MVP?
Hello, good to see you guys. This season the result of our team was quite good. We lost some matches that we should have won, but we also won when we were underdogs. So the star of our team, and of course, I think of the WTL was MaxPax, our best player.
Please repeat the MVP player. I think the audio has some... MaxPax. Okay, thank you. 我们在常规赛季的表现其实还好，有些比赛我们输掉了，但我们也赢下了我们该赢的比赛。那么毫无疑问，我们队伍的 MVP 选手，我觉得应该是 MaxPax。
确实，你们的对手也这么认为。那其实我们这一次的战队礼盒为你制作了一个你的专属吧唧，你有没有看过呢
？We actually made a special badge for you in the team's gift. Have you seen it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I have seen the photo of this badge, and I can't wait to see it live. It looks really cool, and it brings back memories of the days when I had the mustache. And who knows, maybe the mustache will come back again.
我觉得我已经看到了那个专属吧唧，还是蛮酷的。我们就觉得这样的话，就还是寄希望于 MaxPax 的经典表现。
好的，也是希望你可以喜欢。那其实 PSI 也是我们 WTL 的老朋友了，你能不能跟我们分享一下你作为选手来参加 WTL 的感受？它对你的职业生涯有什么样的影响呢
？PSI is also an old friend of WTL. Can you share some of your feelings with us about WTL as a player? And what does WTL influence your career?
So I think I'm being a WTL player for like 7 seasons, and it has been a really good experience. Thanks to the fact that we have weekly important matches, there is a motivation to train and also to stimulate your creativity with preparing build orders and less standard plays. And also it's pretty nice for me watching games when the outcome depends on more than just you, different than just classic StarCraft 1 against 1. Yeah, so it helps a lot.
我参加 WTL 也有7个赛季了，我觉得是一个很好的赛事。我们可以通过这场赛事更好的去准备自己，去打败对手。同时在不打比赛的时候，我觉得看比赛也是蛮有乐趣的。
是的，这也是这么多年黄哥、孙哥一直在致力于举办我们的 WTL 的一个目的跟意义。那最后的话，马上就要对阵到 PH 战队了，你觉得他们最有威胁的选手是哪一个呢？来，赛前对他们放一句狠话吧。
Okay, you'll be facing PH soon. Who on their side do you consider as the biggest threat? Do you have any tough words for them?
Okay, so I think Goblin is the biggest threat to our team, and he presented very good results in the regular season. However, I believe in our team, especially in MaxPax. So I hope we will going to play good games, and we will win.
我觉得对手队伍里边的 Goblin 毫无疑问是打得最好的选手，但是呢，我们也有 MaxPax 这样的王牌，希望我们打好一点，应该是可以把他们拿下。
好的，那也是希望你们在季后赛的舞台上面大放异彩。感谢接受到我们的采访 ，Thank you，Good luck，拜拜。好的，那我们的冒泡赛也是马上就要开始了。今天的3支队伍仅有1支可以晋级到我们明天第2天的比赛里面，究竟谁可以成功晋级？让我们一起拭目以待吧。接下来把画面交给我们最专业的解说席。
Coming to you live now from World Square here in George Street, Sydney, New South Wales, 2000, Australia. We are here with day number 1 of the playoffs for WTL. It's been a long one, heck of a season. I think we started off back in March months ago or something like that, and now we're finally in the home stretch. 3 consecutive days of all-kill matches to determine which team is going to emerge victorious. I'm, of course, your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today is La Bola de Pepinillo Agrio que rueda por los pasillos, like, _VIP. How we doing, like?
What's up, Yaku? What's up? It's great to be back once again. As you mentioned, it has been a long season. It started back in April of this year. I think maybe even earlier if you count the qualifiers, right? We had like a series of qualifiers.
Code A as well.
Yeah, exactly. A
Going
very
down the line. Oh.
very long event.
And then if you think about it, last season of WTL was really just the lead up or the opening to this season.
Sure, really, WTL just never ended. It just never ended. It has been going since time immemorial here, and it's great to be back here with the top 7 teams of the world. We crowned the best player in the world earlier, of course, in EWC with Clem. What about the best team in the world? As the Doggo is going to be picking predictions.
Hell yeah.
Doggo.
And, a little confused there. Ooh.
Hold on, you're a little bit ahead.
Oh.
We're going for Navi. We're going for... So in the past, we had a prediction bunny. We had a prediction rabbit. I think it depends on the year, question mark. I can't quite recall. But he likes Platinum Heroes.
He's the only one that likes Platinum Heroes.
Oh my god.
Alrighty then. Wow.
Yes, we have the predictions coming in. Shalsef, 91, XY, Maxed, Indy, Wardy, Crank, and Rotterdam have all gone for Psystorm Navi. The Doggo is the only one that believes in Platinum R8.
Yeah. That's a lot of faith. And you know what? I believe in the Doggo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to believe as well. I mean, Psystorm Navi is the favorite team for sure, but as was stated during the interviews, you know, Platinum R8, they have caused upsets in the past. They have been able to pop off in the past as well. It is not impossible for them to win. It will come down to whether or not they have a MaxPax Slayer, though.
Yeah, which I believe I would like to believe that they do. I do think that on a good day, I mean, they mentioned Goblin can really take it to some of the other, pretty much any other player in the world, again, on a good day, and obviously that's going to be depending on how well they've been able to prepare and if they've been able to really study MaxPax and get a sense of how to snipe him.
Yeah, the other important thing to bear in mind as well, just because the interview was very focused and heavily just spotlighting MaxPax, is Spirit. Like, Spirit is no slouch. He is a terrifying player. He's one of the best Terrans in the world, in Europe, and he's also one not to be taken lightly here, you know, especially in the all-kill format. Bearing in mind, this is all-kill. Potentially, we might not even see MaxPax. Like, if Spirit can pop off, he can pop off, baby.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate thing about Psystorm Na'Vi is that because they have such a star player in MaxPax, some of these other players do end up getting overshadowed quite a bit. I mean, you're mentioning Spirit here, who's like, I would say top 2. Yeah, I would say top 2 Terran EU.
Yeah.
It's debatable. He's at least in the top 3 or the top 5, but yeah, you have Spirit over there who can absolutely pop off. You have Gerald, the captain, apparently, based on him taking the interview. He is no slouch either. He's been able to clutch out a couple of ties and even a couple of victories for his team throughout the season. And yeah, it's a fairly strong, solid lineup that they have there overall. It's just that MaxPax kind of pushes them over the edge a little bit.
He really does. He really does. For the most part, the MVP, you know, outside of the mustache, of course, the mustache of Geralt, it does take that crown. But the other,
well, they're one and the same.
True.
Is what we're is what I'm gathering.
Have you ever seen MaxPax and the mustache in the same room at the same time? Didn't think so. As we have our starting players, again, as a reminder, the format for the playoffs is quite different to the regular season. The matches are not predetermined. Instead, they are picked here and now. So we have our starting players, and it is an all-kill format.
Yeah, and I'm liking this from Platinum Heroes R8, or Team Freight, as I like to call them. Already starting out spicy with old mate Diego coming out here. One of the more old school players, I guess, is how I describe him. Definitely one of the more I don't want to say reputable because I feel like that has a different definition, but you know, somebody who has more of a who has been in it for a very long time. I'm losing my words.
It's all good. It's all good. But yes, he has been a veteran of the scene, and coming into
there we go.
Yeah, coming into it, I think we were assuming that Kelazhur was going to be the MVP for Platinum R8, but as you mentioned, Goblin has been popping off. I do think he's a solid starting player, and if you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open. Actually, you know what? Predictions. They're now open.
They're now open.
Yeah, they're now open in the chat. Play show bets on who you think will claim the series. Now, the way this all-kill format works is it's a best of 2. If it's a 2-0, the winner stays on, the loser gets eliminated. If it's a 1-1, they knock each other out.
Indeed, as over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have our blue Protoss player for Psystorm Na'Vi. It's Gerald.
You're a little bit ahead, Yaki. You're a little bit ahead.
Oh, well.
But in the top left, we do have Gerald, and in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Kelazhur for Platinum R8.
Where are you in seconds?
33, 34, 35.
Oh, I'm
36.
way ahead.
Yeah. So we are going to
41. Nope, it shifted. God, I should be using the YouTube link. I don't know why I'm using Twitch.
It's all good. It's all
The
good.
YouTube clean feed.
But we are going to be selling Decide Delta as our first game of choice. Again, the first map is predetermined. Second map is loser's pick as well. So again, it's a unique format to WTL, but quite refreshing as well. You know, World Team League, they do things their own way, and it's always exciting to embrace WTL in its own unique facets compared to like other standard tournaments.
Yeah, it's not really a format that I think we've seen replicated anywhere else. I'm not sure how they came up with this idea, but it's been working pretty well.
Yeah, it's fun. I appreciate it. Oh.
I like the what's that there's a word for it where it's like, I might not be able to beat you, but I can at least bring you down to my level. In the best of 2 format, right? When you go 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, it does give, especially because of the loser's advantage, right? With the map pick, like, it does give, like, a different twist to things. And it does mean that upsets can occur more frequently. You know, even though, you know, you could have a heavy favorites, whether it's MaxPax, whether it's Clem, whether it's any one of these top-tier players, if a player comes in specifically with a build planned on a specific map, then they can whip it out and they can bring you down with that 1-1 score. They can bring you down with...
I mean, that was essentially the story of last season in the playoffs, right? All throughout with Team Liquid, and then finally at the end there with Onsite Gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
When no one was quite able to take the 2-0 against Clem, but Real was able to get the 1-1, and so ace match, different players.
Yeah, exactly. That sniper is like a really valuable asset to have in a Team League format like this. But for now, we're settling into our TVP. You know, we have relatively standard openers for the time being. Gerald's going for his tech of choice, going for a Twilight Council opener back at home.
Yeah, very standard, very a way of sussing out how your opponent is playing for the time being. I have to wonder if that's necessarily the best choice to make in a best of 2, but yeah, since you are a little bit more vulnerable if you end up dropping a map, but
Yeah, and so far it looks like a safer start for Gerald, which I do really like against Kelazhur. Again, it's been a while. We mainly only cast Kelazhur in WTL and maybe, you know, a regional event here or there. But Kelazhur is a very aggressive player in this matchup. We've seen him time and time again go for these big committed 2-base timings, 2-base all-ins as well. Like, he can be in your face. So I like this approach from Gerald. As we can see, he's throwing down extra gateways, currently going up to 3 gates.
indeed. So keep.
Let's go. But yeah, so I do apologize for the stream going down. We didn't even notice stream went down as we were just happily casting away. But alas, we are in the middle of game number 1. We did have a very committed push from Kelazhur moving out towards the natural base. Alas, it did not break through. It was shut down. Now Kelazhur just now establishing his own third, trying to recover economically as Gerald has been able to get into his own Colossus production.
Yeah, which is going to be a little bit tricky for Kelazhur to deal with a predominantly marine-based army. He hasn't quite hasn't teched into Vikings or anything like that so far. He is literally just trying to survive and get an economy up and running.
Yeah, that is the goal. My internet is not looking too good though.
Oh. Uh-oh. Telstra. Shaking my head. It's dropping like Kelazhur's dropping of Gerald. That probably wasn't the best analogy, but...
Yeah, there we go. As we do drop into the main, likewise, Gerald going to be recalling back home. Does make it back in time. Oh, but that is going to be 11 probe kills in the main. Does manage to evade that recall. And so far, Kelazhur doing a good job here at bouncing back. Again, had a really late third, but for the most part has been able to recover.
Yeah, with that drop, Kelazhur's actually been able to overtake Gerald hugely when it comes to the worker count. He's up 18 SCVs versus Gerald's 50 probes. Kelazhur's really just doing what he does best at this point, which is just going for these multi-pronged drops, distracting the main army, and letting his medevacs wreak havoc in the main. Speaking of which, Warp Prism now coming into Kelazhur's main. Unfortunately, there was only one missile turret, so yeah, I wasn't quite able to take out the Warp Prism, and we have a massive warping of Zealots, wreaking havoc in the mineral line and just about evening up the worker counts.
Yeah, as the drop does come into the main base once again. That's going to be 15 SCVs going down. There were Stalkers waiting for the drop as well. At the same time, Colossus pushing it in between the bases. There's a tank in position, and Kelazhur, he's going to be able to hold on to the front lines. Meanwhile, across the map, Gerald, he defends, and he gets 29 SCVs. Oh my god.
Oof. Yeah, great target firing from Gerald, taking out the medevac that had the most units inside of it. Meanwhile, great distraction as well from Gerald, keeping the main army on the front lines and just allowing just about 8 Zealots to kill 32 SCVs. Kelazhur, he got himself back into this game and then immediately fell once again.
Yeah, it did fall, and now we do see Kelazhur. I mean, it's been quite a back and forth. Between our players here. Kelazhur still trying to recover, down to 42 workers. Another jump into the main, gets a handful of probes as well. Every little bit does count. Kelazhur just trying to claw his way back in.
Yeah, he really needs to make his units count, though. I will say that for Gerald, he has been on 3 bases for quite a while. He has been focusing a lot more on... He has been focusing a little bit more on building a more high-tech army, but at the same time, all of this harass from Kelazhur has really been preventing Geralt from gaining too much momentum. Gerald had a really strong economic advantage for quite a while in this game, but
Oh my god.
the supplies are still looking relatively even.
Yeah, massive storm on the main army. Another Zealot Rambai. Oh, these Zealot drops, these Zealot Warbirds have been the bane of Kelazhur's game so far. Just constantly pulled apart. Another 13 SCVs going down. But at the same time, it's not like Gerald has the best economy either. Like the worker counts for both players are still quite low.
Yeah. The worker counts are still pretty low. Kelazhur has now overtaken Gerald when it comes to the army supply, although that purification over definitely helps a ton here for Gerald.
Yeah, the Nova was a brutal storm. Going to be zoning the army away as well. Kelazhur trying to collapse in, still has potential with the army. Has a nice concave. EMPs are solid here on the Colossus. The Vikings are going to be able to get one.
Yeah, the Stalker's a little bit isolated. They do blink back into position, but not before two of these Colossus end up going down. Kelazhur still needs to be careful. He doesn't really have that much support with his bio army right now. His medevacs are running very low on energy. But those were some decent pickoffs.
Yeah, some pretty good pickoffs. Kelazhur rotating through the center of the map, trying to find a way in. Likewise, Geralt, his main army is spotted. Kelazhur is aware, and Kelazhur has to make a choice. Does he respond to the main army, or does he commit? And he is committing.
Yeah, having a little bit of a base race by the looks of things, but of course Geralt does now have a recall available. It came off cooldown, and immediately it's popped.
There we go. We're just waiting with bated breath. Does he recall? Does he commit? He does recall in the end. Kelazhur has to respect that, has to pull away, and now both players are slowly recovering here. Again, it's been a very chaotic back and forth so far. Once again, another Zealot Rambai does get in, but Kelazhur is going to be able to respond. Has reinforcements.
Yeah. I mean, these Zealots, man. Geralt's Zealots, they're just built different.
They just...
Even despite the reinforcements, despite the Widowmine, despite the fact that there are only two of them, still pick off a couple of SCVs.
Yeah, they're pre-loot, Poppy. They just keep going in. It's crazy.
Yeah. They just keep going and they don't stop coming.
There you go. As behind this, second Robo's on the way. Geralt getting into disrupt the production. Meanwhile, we have a Doom drop here from Kelazhur. We'll see if Geralt can respond in time. Again, it's been so chaotic with the drops from both players doing a lot of damage. Kelazhur is moving out. There is a spotter pylon in position. We'll see if Geralt can respond in time.
That we shall. I think this is something that Geralt has kind of has in the back of his mind. He knows that Kelazhur has this reputation for being a very drop-heavy player. So I do appreciate that he set up all of these spotter pylons sooner rather than later.
Yeah, as the drop does come in, big storms here on the main. Oh my god, on the drops! As a lot of Marines and Marauders were left behind, the storms were brutal. Kelazhur doesn't manage to evacuate with some of his army. At the same time, another Zealot Rambai this time does not get SCVs. Thankfully, Kelazhur will be able to clean this up without too much issue, and the supplies are still neck and neck.
But you know what? That Zealot's still going to chip away at that supply depot. It's now down to yellow health. It's oof.
Hey, Geralt, he'll get it. He'll come back with another Rambai.
Yeah. It's not going to get repaired. Who repairs? Why would you ever repair?
We'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on the depot. As Geralt is slowly outscaling Kelazhur. As we do see another Zealot Rambai getting more SCVs, and Geralt has now been able to stabilize, getting up to 64 workers. Kelazhur still on 41.
Yeah, that friendly fire from the tank definitely hurting Kelazhur a ton. And yeah, I think that's important for you to have pointed out. Geralt's issue for the longest time in this game has been the fact that he was going for a Colossus High Templar based army while only being on 3 bases, which is not exactly very efficient mining, but now that he's up to 4, he's got at the very least the bare minimum that he needs. It's still not ideal. You know, we can still see that Gerald is struggling to build up a bank or anything like that, but it's enough to sustain this army.
It is enough, but again, the storms are brutal here in the main army. Nova's going to be going off. The splits are pretty good. The Novas are avoided, but is there enough on the ground for Kelazhur? He has a good concave, and will take down the Colossus.
Yeah, the concave is great. He's had a lot of EMPs, but it looks like he has enough.
Yeah,
he was able to take out the Colossus, and with that, the backbone of Geralt's army has felled.
Oh my, it has fallen, but one final storm.
Been felled.
One final storm forces the pickup, and Kelazhur, he has to retreat. Again, he reached the Colossus count, but he wasn't able to get on top of that final High Templar. In the end, Geralt, he holds on just barely. And remember, Geralt still has a better economy. He can still recover slightly faster than Kelazhur.
Yeah, very important that you had pointed that out. That was, I would say, a more efficient, a better trait for Kelazhur, but he's only now about to land his 4th base. Gerald didn't take any economic damage in that fight, so I mean, he's still not ideal. He's still on 64 workers on 4 bases, which is a little low when it comes for Protoss. But it's still better than what Kelazhur has right now. The only thing really keeping him back is time, is the fact that he needs to wait for Colossus to finish up rather than to finish producing.
And speaking of, he's making Colossus and a Disruptor 1 at a time. DT counterattack gets 6 more SCVs, and again, Kelazhur cannot afford to lose workers. Every SCV is so precious. Another Zealot Runby comes in, more friendly fire, and these Zealot and DT Runbys are slowly killing Kelazhur.
I actually think that one tank has been more of a hindrance than a help to Kelazhur this game. Once Gerald realized, oh, you're just gonna park your safety tank there? Well, you know what? Friendly fire's on.
Yeah. It's one of those things where Kelazhur's been winning the main fights, but Gerald has been just picking away at the economy left and right. That's 15 SCVs going down, and as you mentioned, that tank has been hurting Kelazhur more than helping him. We'll catch a High Templar, a nice pickoff here from Kelazhur, but is falling behind.
Yeah, 34 SCVs versus 69, now 70 probes. As much as I want to believe in the power of mules, it's kind of hard to utilize them when you're running out of mineral patches. When you don't have mineral patches to mine from anyway.
Especially when we have DTs and the natural DTs in the main base as well, more workers going down. Now, Kelazhur, I believe, can still take a main army engagement. The army supplies are still very similar, but it's going to be a one-and-done deal here. I feel like we have one good fight as... Oh, those are going to be some ghosts going down.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we have one good fight in here, and everything needs to go Kelazhur's way. He needs to nail his EMPs, drain the energy from those High Templar, split against the Novas, and make sure he has a good enough concave to fight this army, which is possible. I can absolutely see it happening, but doesn't seem very likely.
Oh my god. Novas are going to be going off. Nice dodges here from Kelazhur. Does catch 2 Disruptors, but the surround is imminent. We have High Templar on one end, we have the main army on the other as well. Balls all over the place. Gerald almost maxed out.
Yeah, and that's just going to make it that much more difficult for Kelazhur here. And again, the army supplies are not looking too different. Kelazhur even has an upgrade advantage. It's just that he has not been able to put a dent in any of Gerald's production capabilities, any of his mineral lines, or any of his infrastructure.
Yeah, he really has not. As we just see another storm just zoning Kelazhur away. Gerald tries to collapse in, pushing on forward. Nova's going to be zoning Kelazhur away time and time again, and Kelazhur just can't get the fight that he's been looking for. There's just so many Novas, and once again, we have the spare supply. We have the spare army to go for these Zealot Runbys.
Yeah, 2 High Templar are going to go down, but that's pretty much a drop in the bucket at this point. We still have 2 high energy, or max energy High Templar here for Geralt, and another one with about 3/4 full.
Yeah, and the Zealot Runbys just keep on going. Massive storms on the main army of Kelazhur, and he just cannot sustain himself. GG, well played, and Geralt will take game number 1.
GG. Nicely done here for Geralt. He understood his win condition, is what it really came down to.
Kill SCVs?
In this game, kill SCVs. You know, he was not doing very well when it came to the main army engagements. Let me put it that way. Kelazhur, there's just something about him where he unlocks a part of where he unlocks something deep inside of him where he's just able to get the drop on you, get these beautiful concaves. I think one thing that's actually very underrated about Kelazhur is his positional play. He just really is able to get these concaves. Well, with the exception of that tank, he's really able to get these concaves and know how to place his anchor units. But once again, that tank killed a lot of SCVs. And eventually Kelazhur was not able to sustain an army the same way that Gerald was.
Yeah, exactly.
That tank actually was the 100% the MVP here for Gerald.
Oh yeah, exactly. That was a lot of worker kills over the course of that game. I mean, again, it was a very chaotic game, very back and forth. I do apologize for those that were unable to catch the beginning of the game. Again, we just didn't realize that the stream had dropped. It was just our connection to Twitch, basically. My connection to Twitch did go down. Well, no, because
Or maybe it was.
I mean, we were in the call at the same time. What do you mean?
True.
We were talking. We were casting the game. And you're like,
Right.
"Oh, is the internet dead?" I'm like, "If it was, we wouldn't be talking right now, Yaku." Oh god. But yeah, so
We don't need internet
It's fine. It's fine. Did have
to
to
connect.
did have to restart the stream, but yeah, with that we have now wrapped up our first game, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. It is going to be Kelazhur's map of choice.
Yeah, just once again as a reminder to everyone unfamiliar with the format of best of 2s, this does mean that Kelazhur will not be able to play in the second round after this match has concluded, but he is still going to play in the next map, and hopefully, if he's able to take down Gerald here, then Gerald will also be prevented from staying on and playing in the next round.
Oh yeah, exactly. So there's still a chance for Kelazhur to bring Gerald down with him. 1 game win is all that Kelazhur needs, and again, I do believe he can, especially after what we just saw in game number 1. It was very close, very back and forth. Kelazhur definitely had his own strong points and strong moments in that game, and I'm sure he's aware of it. I'm sure he knows he was so close to breaking Gerald.
I 100% agree with you, Light. I do think that was a very close matchup, and if Kelazhur just tightened 1 or 2 things up, for instance, not have a tank in position to kill 15, 20 SCVs, something like that, I definitely think that that game could have gone his way, but here's where the main doubt comes in. Now that I've been able to look at Gerald in the full screen, or in the big screen, I'm noticing he's regrown that stubble a little bit.
A little bit.
I'm thinking that that's giving him a bit of an advantage here.
It's true. It's a sign of things to come here, Is Gerald once again going to reach his final form and, like just embrace that inner beast within him and let the mustache flourish? We hope so.
He's had a few different mustache styles over the years, hasn't he? He has had the classic, curl go up. He's had the Henry Cavill, where it's like a... Not
CGI?
quite a handlebar, but like a CGI, like a broom. Well, not a broom, but what's it called when you have the comb? The mustache, the comb stash. That's what it's called.
There you go.
What does he go for next?
Are you jealous, Shaku?
I think. Yeah. Well, I'm envious. Jealousy is. I've been informed that jealousy is a different thing. I'm envious.
True. Yeah.
I think Gerald should embrace the Shifu.
It's one of those. See, really, Gerald's, with great power comes great responsibility. And if you have the power to grow a mustache like the one that he can, it's on him to bring it to the world. And right now he's depriving the world of that mustache. If Yaku can't do that, he can't grow a mustache like Gerald. Like, what?
This is the best I can do. I literally haven't shaved in a month.
Oh god.
I haven't shaved since the end of July.
Oh no. Okay.
Anyway, over here in the top left corner, we have a blue Protoss player for Sisor Navi. It's Gerald.
And in the top right hand corner, we have Kelazhur for Platinum R8. Let's go.
Here we go. Ghost River. So it's Kelazhur's map pick, and I'm curious. Kelazhur, I mean, we know him for being kind of a multi-pronged player. He does I wouldn't necessarily say longer games, but games where players can kind of get to their strides, where there are at least three, and typically 4 or 5 bases, and he just likes going for these multi-pronged assaults. But Ghost River is a really good map for aggression, and I do think that Kelazhur, when he has the time to prepare, he does like preparing at least one very strong early game push build per map pool.
Yeah, and I feel like Ghost River is primed for that, right? If Gerald did want to be hyper aggressive, I mean, he was in the last game winding it back, and again, I think we were off Twitch at the time. But Kelazhur did go for a very committed play on 2 bases, if you remember. It failed, and Kelazhur kind of stumbled his way out of that. But on a map like Ghost River, that will hit a lot harder and a lot faster. So keep an eye on Kelazhur to see if he does incorporate some more committed 2-base play. Potentially 3 Raxes, potentially 2-1-1. We'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Glued to that production tab.
Yeah, as this time Kelazhur does throw down the factory, so he is not going for a heavy bio-based opener. He's not going for any kind of cure-based 3 racks or anything like that. Not yet.
Yeah. We'll see that later against MaxPax, potentially. If they revive Kelazhur in the ace or something.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. As the initial factory is on the way. Again, Kelazhur did go for a double gas opener. He's going for a delayed CC as the command center has now been thrown down. And we'll keep an eye on Gerald as well. Last game, he went 3-gate blink, if you remember. And it wouldn't be too bad of a choice to go for that again here. It's just a very safe way to open up in this matchup.
Yeah. It's good to keep your bases covered here. Especially when you suss out that your opponent is capable of going for early game aggression. You see that Twilight Council now on the way, and yeah, it should be just another nice and standard blink open coming out from Gerald.
Yeah,
Widowmine.
As we have that tech of choice, as you mentioned, we do have the initial Widowmine here from Kelazhur. Not committing into extra Widowmines, but just the one initially. You do have a Cyclone behind this, really safe play out of Kelazhur. And we'll see what this does lead into, as we do have a Medevac on the way as well.
Yeah. Oh, good vision here from Gerald. I think he's noticed that there's a little bit of a strange discoloration in the middle of the map. So, yeah, really good to set that up. I was about to say, this is a really smart play from Kelazhur, and I don't like it, but, well, Geralt came in with the bigger brain and nullified that.
There you go. Did shut it down. Blinkers on the horizon, as you mentioned, going for a Robo before the expansion, and we'll keep an eye on the gateway count. There we go. It's going to be 3-gate blink once again from Geralt. So far, Geralt going for the same build 2 games in a row. Up!
Oh, as the Stalkers are now in position to catch that Medevac. Once again, Geralt just reacting perfectly to everything he sees. He saw the factory, he saw the...
Yeah,
Could be a server issue, but we'll... Obviously, if we try to resolve that, we'll have to take down the stream.
Yeah, exactly. As Stalkers are going to be dipping in, they get a bit of counter damage. At the same time, this Liver getting a lot across the map, so it's going to take quite some time. 4 probes go down. Finally is going to be shut down, and Kelazhur still has no 3rd CC. It looks like, once again, he's building up towards another stim timing.
Yeah, which tends to be pretty strong on Ghost River. Not only is the rush distance very short, but that 3rd base specifically is quite isolated from everything else. So there's a lot of potential here for Kelazhur if he can really nail his timing. He was already forced to lift up, I believe, was it his starport earlier on? Yeah, lift up his starport and swap the add-on around with something else. So yeah, that's really going to be impacting a little bit of his momentum. He's not going to be able to hit with as many Medevacs or as many Marines as he otherwise would like to.
Yeah, as I think we're going to keep cams off. We'll keep him off, Pappy. Keep him off. It's fine.
Part of the Twitch conspiracy.
It is. But here we go. We're going to be settling
the mustache.
Going to be settling into this 3rd CC behind this, but Kelazhur, he's very committed with his move out. There's 1 tank to defend, and it looks like we will catch out the tanks barely on siege. We force the siege a little bit prematurely, so they're out of range of the 3rd.
Yeah, but you know what? We also force a bit of a retreat here from Gerald, and now the tanks are able to get snug in this location. This 1 Medevac with full energy and barely any health is giving me anxiety. I just gotta let you know about it. I just felt like I had to get that off my chest, but so far Kelazhur has been doing a good job of keeping everything alive, but unfortunately the time has passed for this drop. He knows that now that Gerald has his Colossus out, with that shield battery as well, there's no way he's going to be able to make any headway there.
Yeah, shouldn't be able to, as Kelazhur has to retreat, getting his 3rd base up and running. Gerald has survived the early game aggression, has survived the assault of Kelazhur, and can now go for his own counterattack. Now, suddenly, Gerald has gained map control.
Yeah, and you don't need that much map control on Ghost River before you're already in your opponent's base.
As we do see Gerald rotating around, knocking down those initial rocks. Meanwhile, Kelazhur pulling back, building up. Now, thankfully, even though Kelazhur wasn't able to break the third and wasn't too successful with his move out, at least this time Kelazhur maintains all of his tanks. If you remember in game 1, Kelazhur lost everything. He lost all of his banshees, lost all of his tanks. Here, he has retained his army.
Yeah, he lost all of his tanks, and then he remade one tank, and then, well, he has sort of rest. Yeah, this time he does have a decent setup. I mean, those tanks are out of range in the mineral line, at least.
Yeah, we're setting up for a surround. Kelazhur trying to collapse in from behind. At the same time, Zealot drop into the mineral line. The SCVs are going down, but the Vikings should be able to shut down the prism.
Like so, as reinforcements are able to deal with the rest of the harassment force from Gerald.
Yeah, so nice defense out of the Kelazhur. He shuts down the War Prism, he shuts down the Zealots as well. This time a much cleaner defense from our Terran player, and he has a lead. He has an economic lead. He's even on workers, he has mules, we're even on bases as well. Gerald's still trying to get his 4th base up and running. Kelazhur so far is having a bit of a stronger mid-game compared to what we saw previously.
Indeed, he is now able to really start getting into his groove. He is keeping up economically, as you said, which in a TVP typically means that he's going to be hitting his tech marks, his tech checkpoints, a lot quicker. Ghost Academy just finished up.
Yeah, Ghosts are on the way, 2-2 alongside it. Kelazhur's moving out. As you just mentioned, the first Ghost is still on the way, so there's no EMPs yet for Kelazhur, so he has to be careful. The army going to be engaging. That's a lot of Zealots.
Tis a lot of Zealots, but not that much anti-air, so the Vikings are able to chip away a little bit at these Colossus when I'm almost down.
Yeah, the Colossus getting very low. So far, so good for Kelazhur. The tanks are sieging up to support. Big Viking shots going off as well. The Colossus looking a little bit more exposed, looking very vulnerable.
Yeah, and so Gerald knows that he has to back away for now.
Kelazhur does rotate. Zealot run by towards the natural, going for the SCVs. Once again, workers going down, forcing Kelazhur back home. Meanwhile, Kelazhur's tanks are exposed.
Uber exposed. Unfortunate pathing going on over there. One of them will live and will shell away, actually, at these stalkers, and there weren't that many of them to begin with. Vikings, however, are being picked off one after the other, though, so yeah, those Colossus are still going to be able to get a lot done in the main fight. 9 SCVs go down to that run by.
Yeah, meanwhile, Gerald's a little bit trapped here. Storm coming in. That does finish up. Nova's going to be going off as well. But here comes a big flank from Kelazhur. Nice EMPs on the main army. The Colossus so low, but the Storms are insane.
Yeah, the Storm's doing so much here to keep the main army away from getting on top of this juicy Colossus center.
Oh my god.
Not quite able to land, but it looks like Gerald has enough reinforcements to at least keep Kelazhur at bay.
Yeah, Kelazhur, he cleans up all the high-tech units, but the Stalkers, they barely stand strong. Gerald, he holds. That was a very chaotic fight. We saw a surround coming in. Then the surround got surrounded as well. Gerald does barely hold, but Kelazhur still has a bit of momentum on his side. It does take a little bit longer to rebuild those high-tech units. Gerald needs time.
Indeed, he does, and that also is indeed what happened. We saw surround come in from Kelazhur, but then the surround got surrounded by Gerald's surround, and then yeah, unfortunately there wasn't another surround after that. But imagine if there was.
Yeah, as Gerald is slowly building back up, getting another robo up and running, getting a 5th base alongside it as well, and so far, Gerald, he's slowly recovering here. Likewise, Kelazhur getting ready for his next move out. Now into a greater ghost count as well. +3 is on the horizon. But both players currently licking their wins.
Yeah, backing off. A little bit of a similar situation as we had on game number 1, but obviously this time the metrics are a lot closer. I mean, worker counts, bases, income. The one thing that's different is Kelazhur has a bit of a higher army supply, but keep in mind, a lot of that army is in these metavacs, so effectively, in a main fight, in a main army engagement, it could still go either way.
Yeah, it really could, as you can see. Geralt at least has been able to reestablish all of his bases, his economy as well. Once again, has gained map control. You can see Geralt is getting ready for another Zealot round by on the right-hand side. And even towards the left as well. That's a lot of Zealots out on the field for Geralt, and it's what won him the previous game.
Yeah. All that SCV damage. That was how Gerald was able to eventually, I wouldn't necessarily claw himself back in. I mean, he already had the advantage, but it's what allowed him to slowly bleed out Kelazhur. Right, it was death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Oh yeah.
Although some of those cuts were a little bit larger than the others.
Yeah, some of them were tank shots, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Not quite paper cuts. But the initial Zealot Runback gets caught, so nice defense out of Kelazhur. Kelazhur has maxed out for the first time this series. Wasn't able to get close in the last game, but has reached max supply. Nice Sentry Towers as well, just covering more locations. And this is still anyone's game. Both players have recovered.
Yeah, we're all waiting for that either that main army fight or that main tech switch. The latter coming more from Gerald's side, but it's not out of the question if Kelazhur wanted to suddenly go for a massive Lib army.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's, I'm sure, getting ready for that transition with that fusion core. It's still a ways away to get into Liberator range and into that second starport, but he's definitely thinking about that Liberator transition. Meanwhile, steaming on forward, he wants the disruptors. Oh!
Nice EMP, but even better Storm. Kelazhur sitting in that for just a bit too long. Sustains a lot of... I was going to say sustains a lot of losses, but actually most of his army stayed alive. It's just... they're not as healthy as they once were.
Yeah, that was that big storm in the main army. Meanwhile, steaming on forward once again, but there's so many Novas, and ooh, a big connection.
Yeah, it's gonna make it a little tricky for Kelazhur, but let's see if that's enough to actually keep him at bay, because Kelazhur still has a larger army supply. Mass warping of Zealots start to come in. EMP lands on the shield battery, I believe it was, so... yeah, even though we do have overcharge, once overcharge runs out, that shield battery literally will not have any use until it regains that.
Yeah,
energy.
meanwhile, for the most part, really good splits, but towards the end of the Novas are connecting. Massive connections, oh my god, on the Ghost! And Kelazhur's supply is plummeting, is going to be forced back. He almost was able to break through. There's one disruptor left, but alas, just too many Novas to the face.
Indeed, that was unfortunate there for Kelazhur. But he still traded decently well. I mean, he lost a lot of ghosts, which is never good, but was able to take out a couple of High Templar, was able to take out a couple of Colossus, so yeah, he just needs to hang back a little bit and recoup his losses.
Yeah, again, both players are battered and bruised. We see a massive DT counterattack here towards the south. Gerald's going for those next, also going for those planetaries. At the same time, Kelazhur looking for a main fight. Again, Kelazhur has potential. The Colossus were not remade, but we are making 2 disruptors at a time, and Gerald, he does hit that southern planetary.
Yeah, will force a liftoff. That's a lot of Dark Templar. Which makes me a little depressed, Light. I saw a little bit of the show match earlier on. I'm sad that Darkons are no longer a thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, but that is going to be 19 SCVs going down. Again, the DT counterattack did so much damage. Didn't kill the CC as it was lifted, as you mentioned, but did get the entire mineral line and then some. So very nice economic damage. Kelazhur plummeting down to 55 SCVs. Oh, that is a big blow to his economy. But this army is still a force to be reckoned with. It's still massive.
Yeah, this is still a fight that could go either way. If Kelazhur wins decisively in the next engagement, he'll have so much momentum to just keep this push going and will be able to take it. But if he trades a few too many units, if he loses a few too many units unnecessarily, I think Gerald's just gonna essentially copy or have a repeat of game number 1. Just continue to stab away, or jab away, or cut away? Slice away.
Yeah. This time with more DTs than Zealots, but yeah, has potential. Meanwhile, the DTs are being spotted. They're still wreaking havoc towards the south. Workers are going down. It's not too much economic damage, but what this is doing is just buying time. Gerald is rebuilding. Gerald is remaxing. Kelazhur has the larger army, so it's more important here for Gerald to trade with the army of Kelazhur and burn through his bank.
Yeah, and that's exactly the name of the game for him right now. He is hanging back. He is just kind of chilling in the middle of the map. He's not really looking to push out or push too deep into Kelazhur with his main army. He is just making sure that Kelazhur can never get past this halfway point with his main army while he chips away at the bases with Zealots and DTs. Nice pickoffs on the medevacs.
It catches Medivacs, DT still wreaking havoc, engaging with the main army. Again, that's a lot of disruptors available here for Gerald, so Kelazhur has to be so careful with how he does engage. Meanwhile, Kelazhur this time has split up his army in two, is having a little bit more success moving out towards the south, catching some stalkers.
Yeah, that's something you definitely don't want to underestimate the value of at this stage of the game. Stalkers, surprisingly expensive units, and while Gerald has a little bit of a bank, he needs to kind of split that multiple ways.
Yeah, exactly. Is forced to just reinvest, and again, you can see Kelazhur has very little in the bank. Geralt has been able to build up, so he can rebuild, he can remax, he can afford these trades. So Kelazhur has to be as efficient as possible, as we do see another run by just distracting Kelazhur, drawing him all the way back home once again. Up, does engage.
Yeah, oof. That was a huge purification over from what I could see, but even better EMPs and even better stim will allow Kelazhur to just barely take this. And look at that army supply difference. Kelazhur, he's going.
Ooh, he is going again. Kelazhur takes a massive supply lead. He caught out all the disruptors. He caught out Geralt's main army. Even though the run-by was doing some damage, Geralt, he just wasn't able to pay attention, wasn't able to focus on that main army fight. He was caught off guard. And now Kelazhur, he has to send it here and now. He has to go. Send it, Pappy.
Yeah, he does. He is still going for a little bit of a split push, but thankfully, since he's on Ghost River, he doesn't... his armies aren't too far away from each other.
Yeah, but he's taking a little bit too long. Geralt has been able to rebuild. Disruptors are coming in, but we do manage to snipe two of them. Oh, Nova's going off. Decent connections from those Novas. The Colossus gets caught out, but look at all those DTs.
Yeah, do we have a scan? We should have a scan, right? I'll leave it if you don't. We have a couple of EMPs, so...
Yeah. We should have some EMPs available here. The base is going to go down. You can see Geralt just desperately rebuilding, warping in desperately back at home. He has one disruptor with the main army. Nova goes off, but it's only the one Nova.
Oh, and we do have to blink DTs from the back, but at this point, it's too little too late. Gerald has barely any supply remaining. And it looks like Kelazhur is going to be able to take down Gerald with him.
Let's go. Diego, he stims on in. He had a rocky series here. And even in this game, it was not clear-cut. Geralt has his own advantages, had his own lead, especially with the economy. But alas, Kelazhur was able to get the beautiful fight, the beautiful engage he was looking for. Viking's going to be landing. There's one disruptor left, and it is being targeted down. And Kelazhur just doesn't have enough.
No, he does not. Kelazhur still has plenty of bio. He's got so many medevacs. Jeez. And he even has the medevac healing upgrade, so yeah, this bio army, these Marines, they got a lot of health.
They really are. Even the reinforcements can hold their own, as there's only a handful of stalkers remaining. Geralt taking a rough trade, and despite having all these bases, despite having all this economy, again, his army pales in comparison to what Kelazhur has left over. GG gets called, and Diego Kelazhur takes the 1-1.
GG. Nicely done here from old mate Diego. He'll be able to ensure that his opponent's team won't be coming into this with an advantage. He's going to make sure that Psystorm now is not quite going to have the advantage they were hoping for in the early on in the match.
Yeah, GG, well played. It is going to be the tied 1-1 score. Again, it was a very close, very clutch back and forth. I mean, both game 1 and game 2 could have gone either way. In the end, Kelazhur and Geralt have knocked each other out, and now both Platinum R8 and Psystorm Na'vi have to field 2 fresh new players.
Indeed, they do. And I gotta say, like, they've come out swinging this time. You know, already they sent out Freight, Platinum Heroes R8. They sent out their captain in Gerald. And Psystorm Na'vi... No, wait, it's the other way around. Platinum Heroes R8 sent out Kelazhur, one of the heavier hitters on their bench. And Psystorm Na'vi already sent out Gerald, who is their captain. So, yeah, they're not playing around. We're in the playoffs now, and they know how delicate the situation is. So they are just trying to make sure, as much as possible, that they build up that momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And who is going to gain that momentum? Because at the moment, it's kind of stripped away from both players. From both teams even. So we'll see if Psystorm Na'Vi, if they save MaxPax, it's possible. They want to save him towards the end and field Spirit instead. They might field him first. Meanwhile, the advantage that Platinum R8 has is that their roster is quite large. Specifically this year, Platinum Heroes, they signed a lot of players. They went crazy, and they signed a lot of Polish players, a lot of players from just all around Europe in general. For Jumi recently joined them. They partnered for Kelazhur as well. They have a deep roster and a lot of pretty similarly skilled players, so they have options.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of players who have not been... Not departed. What's it called? When they played their first match, making their debut. Departed is something else. A couple of players here who have not made their debut yet, and I'm looking at one in particular, who earlier on they apparently were not able to get a picture for the graphic. It's Eva.
Yeah, they've got Eva, they've got Art, not to be confused with Art, as they also have Art as well. They've got Goblin, their ace. They've got Nicoract, who has been on fire as of late. Nicoract, our most recent Sparkling Tuna Cup champion, likewise, 2 weeks ago won ESL Cup Americas as well, so Nicoract has been on point. Young Yakov is another wild card as well. Young Yakov can look on fire or less so, like his form is sometimes a little bit more in flux, but is also someone that they can rely upon. Nigic also has been looking good as well. That's also the problem with such a large team, is that you have a lot of options, you have a lot of players that you can rely upon, and you can't pick them all, right? You can't have them all come out here this week. You have to pick between them.
When are we getting the Archon Team League?
True.
That's what I want to know.
Aye. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see who they pick and who they field. From the side of Psystorm Na'Vi, again, their roster is a little bit leaner. It's a little bit smaller, and Spirit and MaxPax, alongside Gerald, are their kind of trio that they rely upon week after week. Every now and then, maybe one of them isn't available, and they've had a Mindle VK or Namshar step in, or Epic. But for the most part, Gerald, Spirit, and MaxPax should be what we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of yes, the red and white flag gang.
Here we go. We are getting ready for
elaborate.
We're getting ready for our potential next player. Let's go. And oh, that's MaxPax.
Is it? No, I don't see a mustache.
He doesn't have the mustache, but I think he just shaved. And I believe that's Nicoract, right?
That's why. Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty
sure.
No,
yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I recognize those bricks.
You don't recognize the face, you recognize the bricks. Okay. You're like, I've seen those bricks before, Pappy.
That's how I was able to tell Nice and Rex apart. Which room had more waifus?
What do you mean?
Nice and Haas apart. It's based on which room had more waifus in it. Haas was the one with all the waifus.
Shaking my head.
Nice was the one with the lion mascot.
You know what I want to know? In the upcoming days,
the bear/lion thing.
Yeah, and there it is. It is MaxPax Nicoract. But is Cyril still in that hallway? That's what I want.
Oh, in the haunted like hotel. Freaking inn, whatchamacallit?
No, in the hallway where he had like three.
Yeah.
He had like the window behind
the
him.
Hallway the hallway that is an illusion. Yeah, that's what I would know. I think somebody said that his military service is due to be complete around. I think like last week or something like that. So maybe. But here we go. We're getting ready for our next best of 2. And if you're in the chat, predictions are. Now I'm open. Place your bets.
Back to me. There was a chair.
Yeah, there was like a little sofa. Yeah,
like a little sofa, and there was like a little sofa to the left of him, but then behind him as well there was another sofa. And to the right.
Yeah, but there was also like a.
It was like.
Was it a dishwasher? Yeah. There was like a little shelf on his left.
That was
right?
like
There
a little shot. That was a balcony, I think. Yeah. There was a balcony to his left, or to our left, to his right, I suppose. But there was a balcony on one side of him, and then the other side there was like a screen door to another room.
We'll get there. We'll get there on the final day when we're able to see Cyril once again in his element.
Decontamination chamber. You're out in the balcony, you have to stay in the decontamination chamber before you can come back in.
Let's go. As it looks like we're getting into our next game. We're getting into our next series here. Oh boy, a best of 2 between MaxPax and Nicoract.
Everybody in the left-hand corner, we have a blue Protoss player for Sidestorm Navi. It's MaxPax.
And top right, we have Nicoract for Platinum R8.
Yeah, also known as Team Freight.
We go. Whew. So it looks like Sidestorm Navi are going to be holding on to Spirit a little bit longer. It does make sense. For those that are unaware, Spirit is going to be traveling. If you recall, tomorrow is the House Galactic Battle. That means Spirit and Gerald might actually, I mean, if Sidestorm make it through to tomorrow's matches, they're going to have to be playing from a gaming bar.
Yeah, that gives them an advantage.
Does it?
Potentially.
You know what's crazy? This is lined up in such a way. It isn't the first time that's happened. For the last House Galactic Battle, Cristiano also played his WTL match from the events, from the LAN.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Some people were getting behind the scenes, like vlogging it. Mm-hmm. And whatnot. I think Indy did. Just getting like a first-person view and be like, "Yo,
yeah,
Cristiano, he's not playing his individual league match right now. He's playing his team."
Yeah, I mean, it shows us that they're willing to do that as well. Because I remember that Cristiano's matches were delayed because of that. Like, they allowed him to play in his WTL match. And I'm sure they'll do the same for Gerald and Spirit as well, if the schedules do clash. But for now, we're going to be settling in, and we're loading into Post-Youth as game number 1. MaxPax going for his Gate Expand. We do see Nicoract interesting, despite the map, despite how safe you are on one base, he is going for a double gas opener.
Interesting choice. Well, I'd be scared too, to be honest. I would go. I go for a double gas as well, if I'm being honest. I would also just try to make sure that I can get my safety units out before expanding.
Yeah. So interesting start here from Nicoract. As we're mentioning, he delays his expansion. As a result, we do see a Twilight Council being thrown down by MaxPax, and we'll see how Nicoract does embrace this longer game. Is going for a Reactor on the racks, going for a Reaper Hellion.
Yeah, and those are Reactor Reapers coming out as well, so a little bit more committed here from Nicoract, but still something that will transition into something a little bit more normal. I'm honestly a little bit surprised from MaxPax here, going for the Twilight Council. If I'm being honest, just because I do feel like Post-Youth is an excellent map for Stargate harass.
Yeah, so again, just really safe play out of MaxPax. Meanwhile, the Reaper Hellion is spotted by the initial scout, so MaxPax is fully aware. And there we go, he's going for a full wall of a KDA charge. It's not going to be enough to break through into the main base. MaxPax is secure. Behind this, we see Nicoract. He throws down 2 more Raxes before the starport.
Oh, it's pulling back to me. Okay, it's not quite the Cure build. The Cure 3 Rax, but... You know, hopefully it's something more effective than that.
I mean, this looks like the beginnings of a 2-base all-in. Like, this is a big delay on the starport for Nicoract. We'll see if he does throw down a 3rd base. Otherwise, he could just double down, and he could even pull the boys with this. Like, this is very aggressive from Nicoract.
Yeah, and for now, we're just going to try to set it up as best we can. MaxPax, because he fully walled off earlier on, now he has to take out that pylon in order to expand and whatnot. But thankfully, you know, the worst is over. He has a decent number of stalkers and whatnot now, so he's safe.
Yeah, Yeah, Reaper does dip into the main, getting a probe kill, so not bad, getting some damage done despite how defensive MaxPax has been. Meanwhile, 2 extra gateways are finishing up, and MaxPax is soon going to go for a big counterattack with his Blink Stalkers. And again, MaxPax with Blink Stalkers, I mean, name a better doer. He has some of the best control with this in the world.
MaxPax, name a better duo? That's easy. Patience and Blink Stalkers.
Yeah. It's a very different kind of doer. It's very... Aye. You're not wrong, though. You're not wrong. Go Max. Yeah, MaxPax is moving out. It's 4-gate blink, bear that in mind. So he has a lot of gateways available, a lot of stalks available as well. Nicoract is about to go out for his move out or go for his push, but he's being caught out. Now we're going straight for the main.
And the reinforcements are not in position to chase away all of these stalkers.
Yeah, exactly. SCVs are going down. The push is forced back home. And again, Nicoract is very committed with this eventual move out. He's going to be delayed. Oh, he catches the stalkers.
Yeah, so he is going to be delayed, but he does catch out a couple of stalkers, making it a little bit easier for him to push out across the map. He's pulling the boys, which you always love to see.
Yeah, again, so this is going to be the 2-base all-in variation from Nicoract. It's all or nothing. Reinforcements getting caught out. The tank is going to fall. Massive pickoff.
And now it's do or die for Nicoract. Everything's on the line. And he has to make sure that this one push is enough to at least cripple MaxPax.
Yeah, Stim is done.
Ordinarily at least cripple, but now losing 15 SCVs has to kill him.
Yeah, MaxPax, he does lose the Immortal. The Immortal goes down for 1 tank, but there was only 1 tank. Meanwhile, the overcharge is going to be running out, and Nicoract, he's pushing on through. He is running out of steam, though. Only a handful of Marines, handful of Marauders did just stim. It has maybe 1 more stim left in him.
Yeah, Combat Shield did finish up in time, so he is able to stim at least once more, but this is the Metavaclus variant, so already it's going to be a lot trickier. And yeah, to flank the Stalkers coming in from behind and picking off the tanks is going to prevent Nicoract from having a foothold, but he still has a very powerful bio army.
Yeah, he may have lost his tanks, but he shut down a lot of the Stalkers, and Nicoract, he can still pull this off, but time is working against him. He has to push in, and ooh, the high ground is brutal. As MaxPax, he does pick up a handful of those Marines. Another Immortal has arrived, and with that, time is on MaxPax's side. The longer this goes on, the better it is for MaxPax.
Indeed, it shall be. But one false move from MaxPax is all it's going to take for Nicoract to be able to take out the Immortal, and then ideally just push his way into a victory. He stims forward once again. That's the last stim that he has available. But there's barely anything left here for MaxPax.
That army is so battered and so bruised. It's like on the edge. It's on the brink of death right now. And here we go. MaxPax charge is done. Zealots, they're going to be coming in. They collapse on the main army, and so many Marines, so many Marauders go down. The tank can be targeted down as well. And MaxPax, he is holding.
He has held. He has taken out so many SCVs behind all of this. And Nicoract is out of juice. He's out of steam. He will not be able to keep this push going, and now he has to scramble for a way to expand and try to get himself back into this game.
He was so close. He was so close to pulling this off. Again, he had broken the 3rd base. He had caught out the Immortals, caught out a lot of Stalkers as well. It was punishing some of the movement of MaxPax, but Nicoract, that was all he had left. He still has an army to work with, that is true, but he's stuck at home.
Is stuck at home. You can tell that he sees that observer, but he can't spare any energy on scan.
Yeah, every mule is so precious. And speaking of mules, MaxPax is going for the Dark Shrine. A very smart move out of MaxPax. He realizes how desperate Nicoract is for resources, for minerals, and he responds with the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, we have the Evo. No, that's the wrong eBay. I mixed up Evolution Chamber and Engineering Bay in my head, so I combined them. We have the eBay, but we don't. But again, we can't spare any. We can't spare any resources, any minerals on building a turret.
Yeah, and here we go, just pulling all the boys. All the boys are being pulled. It's all or nothing for Nicoract. It's going to be a second all-in. The Observer did spot this, and because of that, MaxPax is in position. He does force out a stim already. And as we saw earlier, every stim does count. It does pick off one of the Stalkers. Meanwhile, the force fields.
Every stim counts, and that's why force fielding the Terran army just after the stim is a wonderful way of neutralizing that. DTs are in the main, but that's the least of Nicoract's concern.
It really is, as we did have one scan, thankfully. We have the overcharged boys that are being pulled. We're getting on top of the army. GG gets called, and MaxPax will take game number 1.
GG. Nicely done here from MaxPax. Calm in the face of pressure. Everything was on the line. I mean, he was so close to getting taken out there.
Yeah.
From Nicoract. If 1 or 2 more things went his way, if he had his reinforcements come in just a little bit quicker, you know, they weren't distracted in the middle of the map by that one stalker or anything like that, I really do think that he would have been able to take it and really set Platinum Heroes R8 on a very solid path for the rest of the match. But alas, does get taken out here. Will play on one more map, but will not be able to be fielded later on unless they utilize Free 5.
Yeah, again, really impressive play there to Nicoract. MaxPax was making mistakes. He was making some rough decisions as well when it came to some of those engagements. He was being caught off guard, and because of that, that was a very close game. Very close against Nicoract. He was so close to bringing MaxPax down, but just barely did not have enough. As we saw towards the end, he was just running out of steam, running out of stims as well, and MaxPax did survive. Now, as we get into game number 2, Nicoract, he does have another map of choice, but the problem is that I don't see another 2-base all-in working well here, especially after we just tried it in game 1, right? Now MaxPax is going to be a lot more on top of scouting and responding and respecting that sort of thing.
Right. So what you're saying is he needs to pick a map that is good for 1-base all-in.
Yeah. Ghost River?
I'm thinking Frost.
You're thinking of Frost?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Oh, interesting.
Oh?
I wonder if
There's some pondering.
I wonder if they're in call. Do you think, or is Tassa just watching?
I think they all have to be in the same Discord call, right?
Oh yeah. I guess.
Yeah. They used to do Zoom, but then they realized that Discord is just way more convenient for everyone.
I'm pretty sure they're still using Zoom.
Are they?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious if maybe they can like take a moment to like, you know, speak with their captains, speak with their coaches before jumping in, like kind of to discuss the plans.
Halftime, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In the locker room, it's just like, get on the field there.
Have you ever been in that locker room before, Jakob? That's what he's saying right now.
I don't think locker rooms are a thing.
Uh-huh.
No. Yeah, it was a locker room, technically. It had lockers.
Okay.
Next to a bunch of showers.
There you go. What kind of pep talk are you hearing from Tassa to Nicoract? What's he saying?
Saying, he's telling Nicoract to utilize the hair.
Okay. You know, it's something that it's something that really caught me off guard.
I like the contrast.
Yeah, it's something that caught me off guard when we saw Nicoract, because I'm pretty sure even the last time we saw him, his hair was not this long. His hair, he needs to like give Gerald some of his shampoo, because whatever it is, it's growing that hair real quick. And if Gerald can get some of that on his face, then mate, we could see a whole different kind of Gerald.
Yeah, this is the Nicoract that we're more used to.
Yeah, because again, like last time we saw him, even with his cat, like his hair was shorter, 100%.
That's which over in the top right corner of the map we have blue Protoss player for Size Ravi. It's MaxPax.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have for Platinum R8, Nicoract.
And Yeah, there's a lot of things that are catching me off guard here. It's the long hair is one of them, but the other thing that I think we kind of glossed over is that Nicoract, he has an actual webcam now.
True.
He's not propping up his phone on his desk.
There you go.
That.
Yeah, he's leveled up. Telling you, with hair comes cam.
Ah.
I'm just saying he can do Gerald a solid. I'm just saying. Could happen. Could happen.
Yeah.
As for now, we are settling in.
Or is it which came first, the hair or the cam?
Okay.
Did the cam like show up one day and all of a sudden overnight the hair just grew, or the other way around?
I'm just trying to think if whatever product Nicoract is using on his head also works on his face, or if it's just a head sort of thing. Is he another Yaku?
Well, if you think about it, the face is a part of the head. So
it is.
It works on the head. It works on the head.
Okay. Oh, as that is going to be an SCV kill at the main base. That should not have happened, so a nice little win for MaxPax. Behind this, going for the Cybercore into Expand, standard opener from our Protoss player, and Nicoract is going for, once again, double gas. Now, what's interesting is the map of choice loading into Crimson Court. Crimson Court is known for its late game. It's known for splitting the map in half and these very safe, like, fringe bases as well. So I'm curious if maybe Nicoract is looking for a longer, later game approach, or if he goes for another 2-base all-in.
Yes, is going to be the answer to that.
Okay. I mean, there's a second base.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't see a third one, so... Math.
Also, someone's asking in the chat, if hair equals power level, then how did Sadsack take a game off of Gerald? The facial hair, Pappy. The facial hair.
I don't recall Senior Sack having...
Yeah. He's got hair on the face.
He's got stubble. Yeah.
No, he's got more than stubble.
He hasn't grown it out, yo.
Man, you can't say someone like Sadsack has stubble. With a face like yours, you can't... you can't
I'm saying the last few times I saw Sadsack stream, he literally just shaved. So.
Okay. He's got it going. You know what?
He shaves pretty regularly.
He does maintain his power.
He's your sack.
Not wrong. He keeps himself at bay.
He needs to keep it controllable.
He does.
To make it fair for everyone else.
Exactly. It's too much, Bap. It's too much power.
Yeah. Can you imagine him with Gerald's stash?
Oh, yeah. That would be beautiful.
Oh.
As for now, we do see Nicoract...
How out of control. The MMR.
Yeah, he'd be insane. He'd be the next Cyril. 100%. 100%. Yeah. It'll happen.
If he had Geralt's mustache and Clem's hair.
Clem's hair? True, Clem has also been growing out his hair. Oh, and he won!
He let it wild. Yeah, he let it get wild.
That's why he won EWC.
Exactly.
It was the hair.
Yeah.
True. Do you think that's why Nicoract grew out his hair?
Yes. I think in the 1 week that passed in CWC. No, it's been 2 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think in the 2 weeks that passed, he decided, I'm just not gonna cut it.
He just willed it into existence.
Yeah.
Nicoract looks like he's going for another 2-base all-in, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the same build.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets in!
It is laid medevac. We do have the full scout by MaxPax, though, and it looks like MaxPax is going to once again respond with aggression.
Yeah, once again, Blink base open out of MaxPax is going to be testing the waters at the natural, but basically what's happened here is that Nicoract, once again, no starport. No starport from Nicoract, no medevac support. It's just purely Marines, Marauders, and tanks. Stim is on the way, and Nicoract, once again, has the option to pull the boys with this. To pull the boys with his push, but before that happens, MaxPax goes to the mineral line.
Yeah, the tank, it was primed to take out all those SCVs, but And I still pull away right at the end there from Nicoract.
Yeah, just gets the one
Okay.
SCV, but MaxPax did scout the main, so he knows. He's fully aware. The Observer will confirm as well. Still no CC, still no Starport. The Observer is going to be shut down, but MaxPax, he's seen enough.
He has seen enough. Name of the game right now is to just delay this for as long as possible while setting up back at home. Charge is about halfway done.
It's halfway done, and the boys are being pulled again. It's a 2-base all in from Nicoract. It is straight up the same build, 2 games in a row, but this time MaxPax is slowing it down quite a lot, and that's a lot of Marines falling.
But you know what? That's a lot of boys being pulled.
It is.
And we don't have that much energy in these sentries. The sentries actually do get sniped.
Yeah.
Tank's gonna be sieging up over here, but yeah, the boys have fallen. And the Marines have fallen as well.
I mean, almost every single Marine died before the SCVs arrived. It was crazy just how many Marines got picked off by the Storks. It was an insane start for MaxPax. Meanwhile, more reinforcements getting caught out as well. The Immortal has arrived. You can see that Nicoract is getting ground. He's getting within range of the Nexus at least, but he needs more support.
You say reinforcements, those were literally just the remaining SCVs that were pulled earlier on.
Pretty much.
But the third goes down.
Does get the 3rd base, which is nice, but we need more. Nicoract, he does need more damage. He's going to be pulling away. At least he's maintained all of his tanks, but I spoke too soon, as a reinforcing tank is going to get caught out.
And the Stalkers are going to fall, but, I mean, trading out Stalkers for tanks, that is valuable here for Protoss.
There's a lot of value. You can see MaxPax going for a big backstab, going for that prism, going for charge ults into the main. Meanwhile, Zelda going for the main base, but there's nothing to kill as Nicoract, he pulls the boys for a 2nd time.
And so we have 5 tanks along with the boys. It's quite a solid army. The main concern right now is that apart from all these SCVs, there really isn't much or any support for these tanks. So one false siege is pretty much all it's going to take for themselves to charge right on top of them.
Yeah, as we collapse on the main army, that's going to be 2 tanks going down. Massive pickoffs. But the Bio army does stem forward, trying to get on top of that Immortal. The overcharge is popped, and the Immortal is being barely kept alive.
Yeah, Concussive Shell's doing a lot to try to slow down this army, but this is also Immortals versus Marauders. They do a ton of damage. And it looks like Nicoract is not able to push through. In the end, GG is called. MaxPax going to be taking that series 2-0. And will be staying on to face the next Freight player.
GG, well played. MaxPax does take it 2-0, and again, Nicoract, this time the 2-base all-in was a little bit less successful. It was a little bit less chaotic. This time we saw that MaxPax was that much more prepared. I mean, in general, he was able to scout it earlier on. He was able to confirm it, so MaxPax was able to shut it down a lot easier, a lot faster. I mean, the 3rd base did go down, right? Like, Nicoract did break down the 3rd, which was good, but it wasn't just about the 3rd base. It was about more than that, and again, in the lead up to killing the 3rd base, I want to say he lost like 10 Marines. He lost so many Marines as he was trying to move out across the map. MaxPax was doing such a great job at slowing down the push.
Yeah. Really good slowdowns, really good moves with the Blink Stalkers, but like you said, the main issue there was the fact that the SCVs weren't quite in position. They were in the back line as opposed to the front line, which happens a lot more regularly than you would think.
Yeah, and with that...
Yeah, it's tricky, right? Because if you take the time to try to, position, pull back your Marines, and put your SCVs forward in those extra couple of seconds, your Protoss opponent can actually has a lot of chances to get themselves better situated, get themselves on high ground or anything like that. So it's a tough call to make whether you want to, do those extra seconds or if you just want to risk it, risk your Marines.
Yeah, it is really hard, like, to get that execution going and to kind of walk that line of kind of like the positioning of your SCVs, your Marines as well. Like, you want to race across the map, time is working against you, but you also need that buffer force as well. You don't want to take too long and like siege up in the middle and slow down. Like, it's can be difficult to really execute there. And yeah, in the end, GG, well played. MaxPax does take the 2-0. Now this means MaxPax will stay on and Platinum R8 have to field their final player.
Well,
they do have a revive afterwards. True.
Wait. I'm just going through my memory banks to remember how it works. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's how it works. I think, if I remember correctly, in previous seasons, or in the earlier seasons of WTL, your ace player could be a fourth, but I think they changed that recently. And by recently, I mean like 3 seasons ago. So you can only have, so that you can only field 3 players per match.
Yeah. So you field 3 players, and you do have that one revive available.
Wait, no, that's not true, because last season we had Rotterdam versus CranKy.
We did have that. Yeah,
we did in the ace.
Did occur, but yeah. So we'll see if we, or who is going to be brought out. I mean, it's kind of obvious it should be Goblin, right? Goblin should be the final player fielded here for Platinum R8. He's the ace player, the self-proclaimed, or I should say, Tassad, the team captain, did of course say that Goblin was the MVP of the round robin.
Yeah, the owner designated MVP. Yeah. Yeah, I think Goblin is probably the player who has the best chance of taking out MaxPax here. Again, it's going to be a PvP, which is volatile regardless, but also, I might be reading too much into this, Light, but based on the interview, it does sound as though they've specifically prepped Goblin, or they have Goblin. Goblin has specifically been preparing to snipe MaxPax in particular, and obviously we're down to 1 player. Are you gonna risk it all by not sending out your MVP? I think Platinum Heroes R8 definitely could. I mean, they've got Showdown, they've got Art, they've got Eba, but I do think that Goblin is probably the strongest player out of all of them right now.
Yeah, and I'm excited, right? Because as you mentioned, there's no other individual league going on right now. I'm sure the Goblin, the lineups have been revealed for a couple of weeks at this point, so I'm sure Goblin has been specifically preparing for specifically MaxPax. So I'm excited to see what kind of builds he has in store. I'm excited to see how he approaches MaxPax and how he approaches his opener. I'm referring to the Gate Cyber Expand MaxPax, his patented greedy build in PvP. It often does elicit 1-base all-ins, and we have seen 1-base all-ins work in the past. They have broken MaxPax in the past, but they are few and far between. So I'm curious if we're going to be seeing that from Goblin, or if Goblin tries to, be economic himself and try to get a macro game out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of tricky when you're up against a player like MaxPax, isn't it? Especially in the mirror matchup, because he can do it all.
Yeah. We rarely get to see his mid game because his games are usually really short. Like it's it's either he dies to an all-in or he defends an all-in and he just kills his opponent because of that. Like it's usually one or the other.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Nobody has ever tried taking on MaxPax in a macro game.
Yeah. I mean, we have seen Showtime, especially on maps like Site Delta and maps like Amphion as well, where we enter Phoenix Wars, and we have seen Showtime defeat MaxPax in Phoenix Wars, but those are very map dependent, right? Like because of Site Delta and Amphion, because of their features of their maps, it leads into the Stargate openers and into Phoenixes. The starting map, I believe, for Goblin and MaxPax should be Oceanborn.
Yeah, I believe that was... Let me take a look. Yep, gonna be Oceanborn as the first map. So, not necessarily a great map for Phoenix Wars.
Yeah. Not a bad map for all-ins, though. So that's definitely viable, definitely. But
we're just deliberating a little bit. We're in the locker room of Platinum Heroes R8. We're getting to halftime talk by Coach Tassad.
If you want to win games,
how's it go? Yeah.
You gotta win. Yeah,
it's like I thought I've been training players here. Or whatever they say in the or whatever the coach says in the locker room. It's like We're getting creamed out there.
God.
Or whatever they say.
I think we need some more Coach Yaku in our lives. Sounds amazing. But yeah,
You need to get going.
Good God. Don't give anyone a pep talk, Yaku. Don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, I guess we're gonna be going in a short break. It looks like potentially our teams need a little bit of time to get their players ready. Hopefully Goblin is here. Hopefully Goblin is ready to get going. But regardless, I guess we're gonna be heading off for a minute.
Yeah. That actually brings up a good point. I should be instead remembering what Milk used to tell us in between matches.
What did Milk tell us?
He told me to spend my goddamn money. He told me that I was bringing shame to his build orders.
Oh God.
But it looks like we do have an answer. It is in fact going to be Goblin coming up here.
There we go. There we go. We filled enough time.
A couple seconds to get ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Goblin has arrived. He has woken up, and we are ready for that PvP. As you mentioned earlier, like the chances of Goblin specifically preparing to snipe MaxPax is quite high. So I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yeah. All eyes going to be glued on Goblin here to see what exactly he has prepared. Oh, okay, not quite yet.
Yeah, as again.
How
Go on.
disappointed would you be, like, if I told you that the reason how I recognize Goblin is because of the red wall? It's like the red.
You're like, oh, the red.
Like,
Oh, that's Goblin. He's got the red in the wall. Ah.
Yeah.
True. Is that how you know it's MaxPax when you see the space behind him? Like that's the tell.
Yeah. MaxPax, he just exists in space.
Yeah, that's how you know it's him. Otherwise, you can't be too sure.
Yeah.
How many peripherals does Goblin have on that shelf? Jesus.
I think one of them is like his CPU, like the box that his CPU came
Yeah,
in,
because
right?
he's got his keyboard box there. He's got like his mic. Like
Yeah.
this. My God.
Yeah.
Stack.
Got a couple. I used to display like my boxes for my hardware and stuff until I ran out of room.
Yeah.
I said, I'm like, hey, in the top left-hand corner of Ocean Bone, we have a blue Protoss player representing Size Navi. It's MaxPax.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have for Platinum R8, Goblin. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you believe will take the series, whether it's 2-0 in either direction or a tied 1-1 score. Again, Goblin, he needs to fight back here and now for his team. MaxPax is the ace of Psystorm. He knew that MaxPax was going to be a big problem for the team coming into the playoffs. And is Goblin the answer to the MaxPax problem?
We're about to find out. I think he has an answer.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's going to be the right answer.
We'll see.
Still
As
to be determined.
yeah, as MaxPax once again is going for his gateway on the low ground. We mentioned this leading into this PvP, but MaxPax is very, I would say, predictable in the PvP matchup, going for the Gate Cyber Expand or Gate Cyber into Stargate into expansion. So that's why I'm excited to see how Goblin responds, how he reacts so far to Gate Opener. And Goblin has a probe on the map.
Yeah, mostly scouting for potential proxies for the time being, but you know what? It's not too late to throw it on a fake out pylon.
Yeah, that might be the answer, the choice for Goblin. Yep, pylon is thrown down, as we can see at the third base location. So it's a fake proxy pylon. Goblin trying to force a response and force a reaction from MaxPax.
Yeah, we'll see if how MaxPax reacts to this. It's a little bit tricky right now to read his face, but he does seem pretty calm for the time being.
Yeah. I mean, I saw MaxPax looking a little bit shaky in that previous game. You know, there was a little bit of fear in his eyes against Nicoract, but here he is looking very stoic.
Yeah, very full stoic.
Oh, stork even.
Oh, crane.
Now, something interesting here is that MaxPax did cut corners. I don't know if you noticed. MaxPax, he went for a single gas opener into a much faster expansion. So basically, MaxPax called Goblin's bluff. He's like, mate, you're not proxying me, you're not cheesing me, and he threw down an insanely fast expansion, so really greedy player to MaxPax. He follows it up with a second gas, now not into a Stargate, into a Robo for Immortal production. So no Immortals yet, MaxPax is vulnerable for the time being, but as we can see, Goblin hasn't really gone for any earlier aggression, so MaxPax is getting away with this. Oh.
For now.
It's one base all in.
Yep, Goblin. Anyway, does he still have that probe across the map? No, I don't think he does anyway. Yeah, so not quite going to be able to set up a proxy gateway, but nonetheless, it's still going to be very dedicated from Goblin, even if he does have to warp in back home.
Yeah, he does have a probe on the top right, so he throws down a pylon, so it looks like a proxy gateway, but oh no, MaxPax, he gets in! He gets a full scout of the main base. Again, there's a third gateway and Blink on the way, so a big tell here as MaxPax is behind the mineral line, threatens the main base, does force a defensive warp in, will eventually force a defensive warp in out of Goblin as he races back home, and MaxPax is now aware of what's going on. Somewhat, as he starts to scout. There we go.
There we go. Does get the full scout, does confirm everything that's coming his way. That cancel on the pylon, man, that's got to be up there for most when it comes to most unfortunate timings in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, really unfortunate. So it's going to be a 1-base 4-gate Blink all in from Goblin. MaxPax, he responds that there are 2 shield batteries on the low ground, 2 Immortals already, 3rd Immortals on the way. MaxPax saw everything he needs to do, and now it's all about the execution of the defense.
Yep, he's got the tools. Is he able to utilize them? I do not doubt MaxPax for a second, so my eyes are definitely a lot more on Goblin to see how he tries to maneuver this, if he's able to maybe bait a couple of these Immortals outside of position, but obviously this is all a lot easier said than done.
It really is. On top of that, if Goblin can warp in a sentry, if he can get high ground vision, and speaking of, there's a sentry, we could go for the hallucination to get high ground vision and to go into the main, to bypass the natural, bypass all those shield batteries, and dive into the main base instead.
Yeah, and we do have this observer from MaxPax, so keeping tabs on top of the Stalker army. Maybe if Goblin's fast enough, he can blink in and pick off some of these other units one by one as they try to trickle back into the main, but for now, it really just looks like Goblin, or MaxPax, is on top of everything that Goblin is trying to go for.
It looks like Goblin's going for the Hail Mary. Yep, there we go. Hallucination, and it's going to be one and done. Goblin, he has to dive into the main base. He has to focus on that shield battery as quickly as possible. He's going for it.
And he will blink. He will blink again. He will try to focus down this Immortal. Will be able to two-shot it, but unfortunately for Goblin, a lot of volleys were given off from the main army of MaxPax, and he takes out the shield battery, but doesn't have enough firepower to keep this going.
Yeah, he gets the shield battery, he gets one of the Immortals, he gets into the middle line, 3 probes go down. Meanwhile, MaxPax has got a pylon in the main! Pylon in the main base is done, and we're warping into depths right into the mineral line!
Oh. I did not even notice that, wow. Oh, but one of them is a Stalker, but yeah, 2 Adepts, that's going to be enough to start one-shotting these probes. It does not matter at all that Goblin has that shield battery in the mineral line, and obviously, Goblin also just can't warp in right now. At least not back at home.
Yeah, exactly. He's focusing on the all-in. Meanwhile, that is 4 Immortals already. Goblin, he needs so much more. He can two-shot. He does barely two-shot one of those Immortals. He's going for the other.
Yeah, now he was able to two-shot. Then he lost a couple of Stalkers. He was able to 3-shot. Then he lost a couple of Stalkers. And, yeah, no shot. He was going to be able to keep that going. G is called MaxPax. Gonna be taking game number 1 here.
GG.
Forcing a revive.
Yeah, GG, well played. A shout out to Krieger in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing with Twitch Prime. We do appreciate the support. And as you mentioned, with that, Krieger? That does mean, yeah. Krieger?
Oh, I thought that 3 was an E.
Yeah,
I just read that.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be. I think, but
is it?
Yeah, but yeah, with that, GG, we do see MaxPax taking the first game. Again, just time was working against Goblin there, and it was brutal that the pylon in the main base did finish as well. MaxPax being cheeky in his overall defense, and Goblin has to take a bit of a different approach, and he can still bring MaxPax down.
Yeah, has to deliberate a little bit in the locker room.
Yeah, is discussing with everyone else. Again, it was just a really rough start for Goblin just because MaxPax got a full scout of everything.
Yeah, that was, again, the timing on that cancel on that pylon, my heart sank when I saw that, and when I saw the Adept dive in, the Adept Shade dive in, because 100% that is not something that normally does happen. That's literally all of the either all of fortunes looking down on MaxPax or all of misfortunes looking down on Goblin.
Yeah, it was.
That felt like an act of God. That's what I'm trying to get at.
It was a really unfortunate moment, and I mean, with that, of course, MaxPax does take the first game, but now we're getting ready for game number 2. We're going to be loading into Alcyone, a much larger map. Now, this can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, this could lead into macro. On the other hand, there's a lot of places on this map to proxy.
Indeed, there are, and again, this is Goblin's map pick, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's something he has in store. Anyway, in the top right-hand corner of Alcyone alley, we have our blue Protoss player for Saisar Navi. It's MaxPax.
And in the bottom left, we have for Platinum R8, it is Goblin.
I think one of those is actually like a whatchamacallit, like ESL thingy. One of those boxes.
Maybe.
It looked like the ESL packaging. I'm not too familiar.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
For now, we are opening up, and again, our eyes, or at least my eyes, are glued to Goblin here as to what is done with these initial scouting probes. Do we go for a fake proxy pylon? Do we go for a real proxy pylon? What is the plan going to be? Bearing in mind that behind this, that in game 1, MaxPax did also have a very greedy opener himself. This time, though, pylon on the high ground for MaxPax.
Yeah, much safer opening, and since this is MaxPax we're talking about, it most likely is just a way for him to stay safer. It is just a way for him to make sure that if Goblin does opt for a similar build or similar style, then he's going to be even safer. But I would like to imagine, or I'm hoping, for a revenge one base all-in coming out here from MaxPax.
Oh, we'll see. As MaxPax is going for a gate into Cybercore, MaxPax did open up 2 gas, so this time MaxPax isn't being as greedy as game 1, and should be going for a Stargate into Oracle or Void Ray if he does feel like he's under threat. MaxPax is still being quite economic though, and yeah, there's that Stargate on the way for MaxPax.
Yeah, as he is wont to do. I'm hoping for some Phoenixes.
Huh.
Which is the most likely choice right now, but yeah, I'm hoping we get more than just a couple of Phoenixes. Catch my drift.
I mean, this should be an Oracle opener from MaxPax, as now he's going to be expanding. Meanwhile, Goblin going for a sec of choice, Twilight Council before expand. Goblin doesn't have a proxy set up on the map though, so this might just be a safer way to take his Nexus. We'll keep an eye on Goblin. The probe is skirting around the edge of the map. Oh.
Uh-oh.
And skirting around the edge of Jet, dipping in.
I was going to say, as we just play a bit of a game of vision right now, MaxPax will shade on for it. We'll confirm that Goblin is still on one base, but this time isn't quite going to be able to get into the main.
There we go. This time we have a full wall off, and it looks like Goblin is going for the same build. Looks like 2 games in a row. It's going to be a 1-base, 4-gate blink all in. I mean, I'm saying that it's still only 2 gateways, but I'm pretty sure Goblin is planning to throw down a proxy across the map. Yep, there it is. We have a 3rd gateway back at home, and we have the would-be 4th gateway across the map.
And MaxPax, on the other hand, he is not taking any chances. He built that 1 Oracle, and he's making his way across the map, but then immediately after it was done, he throws down a Robo Facility, and now he's working on a Void Ray. He knows that he knows that this is going to be a 1-base build of some kind. He just hasn't quite pieced together what it is, and well, with this Oracle coming in, I think he has more than enough information to make an educated guess.
I mean, not even that. The shield battery was just too little too late. It was a couple of seconds too late. With that 5 probes go down, that is brutal considering it's a 1 base all in. Every worker counts that much more as we barely have an economy to begin with. And now Goblin is still embracing the all in, moving out across the map. As you mentioned, MaxPax saw everything he needed to, and now he's getting ready back at home, amassing up those immortals.
And a Void Ray over there just for good measure. Trying to get a little bit of stasis, but quick reactions coming out here from Goblin. Only 3 probes get caught in it.
Yeah, not a bad stasis. Meanwhile, Goblin, he has to commit. Blink is now done. And the one upside here is that the robot was a little bit more delayed than last game, so it's only 1 immortal, but there's still that 1 Void Ray. We still have 2 shield batteries and an overcharge as well. Goblin, can he break through?
He's going to try. Doesn't quite have one-shot potential yet. I mean, he can one-shot the Stalkers, but I don't think he has enough to one-shot the Void Ray yet.
Yeah, he's still building up, and I'm sure he's hoping to bait out the overcharge. That would be the ideal, as we do go for the blink.
Yeah, they did get confirmation on that. Not quite enough to one-shot the Void Ray.
Oof.
And now not enough to one-shot the Stalkers either. Overcharge working overtime, and buys MaxPax enough time to get the second immortal out.
Yeah, second immortal has arrived. Third immortal's on the way. Shields are going to be triggered, and Goblin is looking to try to trigger the shields on the other immortal, but doesn't quite pull it off here. And again, Goblin has nothing else behind this. This time there is no sentry, there's no high ground vision. He won't have a way into the main, as once again we still have continued Oracle harass across the map.
And an Oracle actually targeted down. It's targeting down the shield battery.
Yeah.
Enough.
I mean, the shield battery does out-heal the damage of the Oracle, but for now, third immortal has arrived, and yeah, GG gets called as we run out of time, and MaxPax will take the 2-0, getting a double kill and taking down Goblin.
GG. Very nicely done. Yeah, very nicely done here from MaxPax. Sidestorm Na'Vi has not won this just yet, but their chances of taking this match and moving forward has just increased so much, because now Platinum Heroes R8, Team Freight, is down to literally just 1 map remaining. They lose 1 more map, and Sidestorm Na'Vi is going to take this series, or this match.
Exactly. No more missteps, no more mistakes here from the Platinum players. It is all or nothing. Essentially, for those that are curious, we have a revive. There is a revive available. I mean, technically, they can field another player if they so choose to.
And
But with this next player, if they drop 1 more map, that is going to be it. That is going to be the end of the series.
And now with that said, do you think it's time, Light, for them to whip out the secret weapon?
Oh, it's time for art. But not
No,
the
no,
one that
I-
you're thinking.
No. Yeah, exactly. You're saying art, I'm saying art.
Okay.
I think it's time for art.
Okay. So not art.
I was referring to art, yeah.
Yeah, okay. My mistake.
To be fair, I think art would also be another pretty good
Yeah.
another pretty good player to field, but I mean, come on, Art right now, he's just, I think, so been on fire recently in a lot of these other online events. I know that, on my brain might be saying Art, but I think it's time to give Art the chance.
True. You know what? I'm all aboard the Art hype train. But we'll see. We'll see who it's going to be here. We'll see what Tassad and the Platinum Boys do decide whether they field another player, another unseen player, or if they go for the revive and bring Goblin back. It all comes down to who feels the most confident at bringing down MaxPax.
Yeah. You're saying Goblin. We have another player tonight who actually hasn't played against MaxPax yet.
True. Yeah.
Well, mate, Diego.
Kelazhur. Kelazhur is another big option. It's a possibility here. Now, the scary thing about the picked player is that they have to 2-0 MaxPax, and they also need to 2-0 Spirit.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that, right? They have to 2-0 MaxPax, and then they have to 2-0 Spirit, and then they have to beat the revive player. So they have to win 5 maps.
Yeah.
5 games in a row. Which is a tough ask for anyone who isn't named Clem.
It's true. It is going to be a tough ask, but I mean, it's still possible, still very possible for one of these players to pull it off. They still have a chance, but it all comes down to what the team decides and who comes out next.
In the locker room right now, deliberating. Somebody actually brought up Remember the Titans earlier on, and I have to have it be known, I did watch Remember the Titans. That was actually the movie that got me into Denzel Washington. So.
Yeah.
It's a good. It's a good movie.
Denzel. Do you remember the Titans?
I do. That was the one. There are two American football movies that my school loved to play over and over again. One of them was Remember the Titans, and the other one was, I think, the Giants something. Or something along those lines. So sometimes I mix the two of them up, but if I remember correctly, Remember the Titans was the one where they had the two schools that used to be segregated, but then they're not going to be segregated, so then they have to have so then they're forming a new football team. If I remember correctly. And then the other one was just like the coach, like, has to teach a bunch of misfits to victory.
Yeah.
Which I guess that description also kind of describes Remember the Titans, but I mean, there was more to it.
It's a good theme, you know. It's a good theme to work with for a movie. You know, it's nice. It's nice. But you can see the teams, the players deliberating as we speak. I feel like Denzel is one of those actors, for me at least, that has is renowned, but like I don't think I've seen many of his movies. But there's like some good ones. So that I haven't been able to embrace.
Seal made me watch another Denzel movie where he played a very different character in Training Day.
Yeah, Training Day is another big one. Yeah, true.
See, Philadelphia, that's another good one. That one has Tom Hanks in it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then the players.
Those are the only three.
You're like, that's all he did. That's what I mean. Though, like he's got like a lot of movies under his belt, but I have not seen the majority of them.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll have a Denzel viewing party.
Yeah. Booker Eli is another one that keeps getting like recommended, but I haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen Book of Eli? That's a more modern one. That's a It came out when you were alive.
All right. It did. Compared to the rest of them. And all right, looks like our deliberations have concluded. We're going to be reviving Goblin here. Or at least Platinum Heroes R8 is going to be reviving Goblin.
Yeah, okay, here we go. We have the revive from Platinum R8. We were considering, could we see some art? Could we see some Diego? But the answer is Goblin. Goblin is rising to the plate here once again. And we've only seen one build from him so far. It's been a 1-base 4-gate all-in, Game 1 and Game 2. But here in Game 3, we could see something very different.
Yeah, I was going to say, third time's a charm. This is the time for Goblin to whip it out again. It's going to succeed. But it is going to be Golden Aura, and I'm not convinced a 1-base 4-gate is going to work out too well. But, when I think of Golden Aura and I think of PvPs, I always remember for some reason in my head, I always remember Tempest, but it's a good map for Phoenix Wars.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Goblin does embrace here. I mean, I feel like the first two games did tell us how he wants to approach MaxPax, right? Like, if he didn't change things in the first two games, and clearly he wants to kill MaxPax early. But after what happened in that first two games, I feel like he might be deterred from that, and yeah, you're right. As a result, we could be seeing a more economic opener instead.
I think this was all strategically planned by Platinum Heroes R8. Go for the 4-gate 2 games in a row.
Okay.
And then the revive, just completely flip it on its head. Go super greedy.
Yeah.
And then,
double expand before Cybercore.
Exactly. Get the gold. Rush the gold.
Rush the gold, Bobby. Rush the gold. As here we go, jumping in and spawning in the bottom right hand corner. We have MaxPax for Psystorm Navi.
And right in the top left hand corner of the map, we have a red Protoss player for Platinum Heroes R8, Team Freight. It's Goblin. Is that a beam? Is it a wall? Is that a yeah, the wood.
Oh yeah, it's like a supporting
Wooden
beam for the
What's it
shelf.
holding up? Maybe.
Does the shelf lose like structural integrity and it has to be
But then what is the beam attached to?
another beam? You can see there's like a cross beam.
Oh,
right,
yeah,
Yeah.
the top there. Yeah, I see that now. Okay, makes sense.
Or do you think that's like something else, like another structure? Do you think that's like his bed?
Oh, that's what you were going for. I thought you were gonna be like, it's actually holding up something else,
Okay.
or it's being held up by something else, by the ceiling.
It could be holding the room together. True. It could be.
It's load bearing.
It is.
You see that we were questioning why he has all these boxes of his peripherals and stuff on the bookshelf instead of books. It's because they need to be there.
They need to. It's true.
If you remove one box, the entire room just falls apart.
That is a load-bearing keyboard box. It is.
Yeah.
I've been there. Good. As we're going to be calming things down, it's going to be a 2-gate opener out of Goblin once again. Meanwhile, shouldn't be a surprise, MaxPax is opening up with a Gate Cyber Expand. We're settling into our initial builds, and we'll see if Goblin decides to expand this time.
I have my doubts, but I do think that if there was ever a map to expand on, it would be Golden Aura.
Here we go. We have the initial Stargate opener from MaxPax, so it's going to be Stargate before Expand. We saw last game this led into initial Oracle, into a safety Void Ray. That should be the direction that Goblin goes in, that MaxPax goes in for a second time. Meanwhile, our eyes are on Goblin here as the probe is moving out once again, skirting around the edge of the map.
Yeah, just keeping tabs on any... I say keeping tabs on any potential proxies, but knowing Goblin, he could just throw down a pylon of his own with
Stargate
that probe.
He's going for the Stargate.
There we go. What'd I tell ya?
This could be Phoenix Wars, unironically.
Yeah. It's a good map for it.
I mean, okay, a couple of things here. Because MaxPax is opening up Oracle, because MaxPax has not scouted the main base, if Goblin goes Phoenix first, he will have a Phoenix lead, and he might be able to leverage that to try to kill MaxPax earlier on with a Phoenix advantage. Again, Goblin should be aware that it was a Stargate open from MaxPax, so going Phoenix first would make sense.
Yeah. It's a good way of deliberating that, but instead it's going to be an Oracle first.
Okay. That's interesting.
Risky maneuver.
Yeah. Oracle opener out of Goblin. Meanwhile, the first Oracle of MaxPax dips in. We'll get eyes on the Stargate, and we'll confirm the Oracle of his opponent.
Yeah, the Oracle of MaxPax will get chased away in the end, so no probe harass, but like you said, the important part is that MaxPax was able to confirm the build and the unit of Goblin.
Yeah, as the first Oracle does pop out, a Depth Shade gets a scout of the main base, gets eyes on all these Stalkers, and we can see that MaxPax is going into a Phoenix. Now, MaxPax, it's only going to be an initial Phoenix to shut down the Oracle. He's working towards a Twilight Council behind this. Both players are thinking of working towards a Blink.
Yeah, no Phoenix Wars coming up here. No Phoenix Wars coming up from either of our players, which is a little bit strange. I would have normally expected that from Goblin specifically. He has shown a lot of really good Phoenix control throughout the group stage of WTL, but I guess he doesn't want to risk too much. He does want to go for something a little bit more reliable, or an army composition that's a little bit more reliable now that he is facing, or now that his team is facing an elimination.
Well, I think he was trying to hope for a fake out even, but we saw the revelation from MaxPax, so he was able to confirm that there wasn't any Skytoss units being made, and it was a Blink transition, so MaxPax saw everything, getting into his own transition as well. Phoenix has arrived, the Oracle is safely recalled back home just in time, but MaxPax is looking solid, and at least we're embracing a longer game, at least we're macroing up in towards the mid-game.
Yeah, we have more than one base. Do my eyes deceive me, like? That's a third Nexus!
They're crazy, but they're expanding. Do they not understand that it's a PvP? Oh my god.
Goblin, he's fallen to the dark side. He's fallen to the macro side. It's...
Is that the
shame.
dark side? Is that how that works?
Well, for PvP, look, from my point of view,
Okay.
expanding is evil.
From my point of view, the Jedi Council is evil. You do have the high ground.
Yeah.
But here we go. MaxPax applying some pressure. Does have a stasis trying to bait out the other. Oh my god, massive stasis does connect.
And this is giving MaxPax so much room to maneuver his other stalkers around. He's starting to two-shot or even one-shot some of these weakened stalkers of Goblin. Not going for the third. He is just going straight for this natural mineral line.
Yeah, he dips in and
Gets
gets
down,
four.
thankfully.
Yeah. Gets 4 workers. The boys are being pulled. Stasis does right now. At the same time, Oracle into the main, and MaxPax pulling Goblin apart.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good thing that Goblin does have that shield battery, but it looks like it doesn't matter in the end here. MaxPax just able to, like you said, pull Goblin out of position and start one-shotting these probes left and right. That was such a simple maneuver from MaxPax, baiting a move out here from Goblin into the stasis ward, but already it has paid off big time.
Yeah, exactly. It has been clinical here from MaxPax. Goblin is getting a third base, but is now down in workers, has a lot of recovering to do, and is on the road to recovery. But MaxPax is able to maintain his lead, has a stronger economy, is building up more stalkers, +1 is on the way, and MaxPax is looking for another opening, is looking for another way in.
Indeed, he is. Not finding it just yet. Meanwhile, back at home, he is defending against potential harass from Goblin.
Yeah, you can see Max actually wants the sentries, gets both of them. Both sentries are sniped. Adepts towards the left-hand side. They distract the main army, and MaxPax gains another opening into the natural.
Yeah, thankfully this time for Goblin, though, he isn't too far away from chasing this back. MaxPax chips away at the shield battery for a little bit, but then has to pull away.
Overcharge is popped. MaxPax, he respects the overcharge, does pull away as you mentioned, and is looking for another way in. Has high ground vision because of the Phoenix, so could try to bypass the main army and go for the main. But for now, MaxPax instead, he expands. He's expanding, taking a 4th, charge on the way +1, and a Dark Shrine as well.
Because why the hell not? Anytime Dark Shrine, MaxPax, not behind it by any means, but I think he's kind of recognized that the big weakness of Goblin in this game so far is the fact that he's not quite able to, or he doesn't have enough supply to really spread his attention. So throw in a couple of DTs and MaxPax, Goblin, there's a high potential of Goblin getting picked apart one by one.
There is, as he was slightly out of position. Thankfully, MaxPax doesn't get much done, does chip away at the base itself, but doesn't quite get much more damage here as MaxPax does respect the main army, but now we have an Immortal in the mix, and the Immortal does add quite a lot more DPS.
And that's something you always have to respect. You can see Goblin right now, he knows that he has even less room to maneuver about with that Archon, with that Immortal in position.
Yeah, exactly, as MaxPax is forcing his way through, at least trying to. The store count is heavily in favor of Goblin, does one-shot the Immortal!
Nicely done here from Goblin, and now he's got a lot more breathing room. He's out in the middle of the map, and he's trying to just pick off units wherever he can. Try to set off a bit of a domino effect, ideally get a snowball rolling into an avalanche.
Yes, Goblin is working in 5 stalkers at a time, +2 is on the way. Suddenly, Goblin has gained map control. MaxPax in a bit of trouble, getting caught out, so doesn't quite lose the stalker, but takes a lot of damage there as he's trying to build up his Immortal count once again. Shield batteries are on the way, and Goblin now moves out across the map.
Yeah, they're on the way, but they're not quite done yet. We do have one by this third base position, and obviously battery overcharge is always going to be available for MaxPax right now. I think Goblins recognize that.
Yeah, and as Goblin's a little bit distracted, so the run by hits a mineral line. Thankfully, we do have a recall and a warping back at home, so these Zelts shouldn't get much done. You could definitely argue maybe an overreaction out of Goblin, bearing in mind now that his recall's on cooldown. That might come into play. That might be a factor as MaxPax is pushing.
Yeah, no, the pressure is really on Goblin. He's lost so many probes throughout this game. He knows that he has to try to reciprocate the damage however he can, whether it's by picking off key units or whether it's by going for a counter push. DT does warp in, and Goblin is aware of it, but I'm not sure he has detection.
Yeah, the observers on the way at the same time. You can see the main army pushing forward, the Immortal gaining ground, DT's wreaking havoc, 4 probes falling. Oh, and Goblin, he's taking a lot of hits by that Immortal.
Indeed, he is really having a tough time splitting his focus right now. Finally, it looks like the DT has been dealt with, and now Goblin can focus his attention on the front lines. The RA takes out the Immortal, and he's gaining ground.
He is gaining ground, but that was 15 probes going down. That's DT. It's still wreaking havoc, and then, oh my god, the Dark Templar, they're still popping off. 17 probes falling, and this is forcing an all-in.
I was mistaken. I assumed the DT went down. And that's why Goblin was moving his supply or his stalkers towards this 4th base, but apparently not.
Yeah, it has done game or just critical damage here, and Goblin, he's up against the wall. Zealot run by towards that left-hand side as well. MaxPax always has room for these run-bys, for these counterattacks, and he's just catching Goblin off guard time and time again.
Yeah, that's one of the weaknesses of Golden Aura. It's just your 3rd base expansions are just so spread out apart from one another, or rather your 3rd and your 4th base are so spread out from one another. It's really difficult moving between them, and even more difficult figuring out how much supply you can allocate at each position.
Yes, again, Max actually just keeps rotating, pushing in, pushing back out, and going for the 3rd base once again, and this time he's going for the Nexus.
Will be able to take it out, and if Goblin wasn't all in before, he absolutely is now.
Yeah, he just doesn't really have much longevity in this game. It's going to be all or nothing for him. Meanwhile, MaxPax working towards +3, second Forge. Blink is on the way for the DTs as well, so they can be that much more annoying, that much more maneuverable. And, yeah, things are looking a little bit more bleak here for Goblin. He can still take a fight. Like, Goblin still has a decent army size, but he's just stuck at home.
Yeah, having to defend and defend and defend. I think Recall has come off cooldown for him, though, so if he wanted to, he could risk moving out across the map and then recall back home in the event of an attack, but it's a very huge risk for not enough of a reward, I think.
Yeah, as the 3rd base is going to be cancelled. Once again, it is denied. MaxPax at the same time hitting the 4th base. Zealous, they get into the mineral line. There is an overcharge. Thankfully, that is going to be popped. Nice force fields out of Goblin.
Yeah, going to be able to chase this main army, keep this main army at bay for the time being. We do have DTs, though, or at least one DT going in that 4th base location.
Yeah, that one Dark Templar is just going to be dragging away more of those reinforcements. That's, I think, a kill, not a cancel on the base itself. So another thing in favor of MaxPax.
Yeah. And even if it was a cancel, it would still be an advantage for MaxPax, but that was a kill, so it's even a bigger advantage than it otherwise would be. DT going ham by that 4th base. Finally will get dealt with, but not before 11 more probes fall. GG is called, and MaxPax will be taking this series 1-0. Will be advancing Storm Na'Vi into the next round of the playoffs.
GG.
Does it count as a triple kill if it's a revive?
Not so sure, but GG, well played. MaxPax will take the series here, and with that, as you mentioned, Storm Na'Vi will advance on into next round. My condolences to Platinum R8. Again, they had a strong start, you know, being able to force, being able to bring down Gerald, but MaxPax was a little bit too much to handle there. Unfortunately, Goblin could not bring him down. Definitely came close and definitely had some spicy builds in store, but barely was not enough.
Just barely. Yeah, GG. Nicely done here from Storm Na'Vi. Nicely done here from MaxPax, especially. Going to be able to not quite get the all kill, but pretty close there. I do think that Platinum Heroes R8 did the best that they could here. I mean, they've even said specifically that they had Goblin prepped and had him study a bunch of MaxPax's replays, get him to develop a build that was initially designed to really play into or take advantage of MaxPax's weak points in the early game, but yeah, in the end, it wasn't quite enough. It looks like MaxPax was able to really shore up his weaknesses in these past couple of weeks.
Yeah, again, like MaxPax is the reason why he is the ace player and why he's one of the best Protoss players in the world. And can he help carry his team even further? On top of that, there's a player that we haven't even seen yet from Psystorm Na'Vi, and that is Spirit. Spirit is well rested, and I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit was saved and is now going to be fielded for the next team, for Team Liquid.
Yeah, it would definitely be a really good choice here for Psystorm Na'Vi. I mean, he's I would imagine settled in to his wherever he's staying at during the House Galactic battle.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, especially because, I mean, we'll see how Psystorm Na'Vi approach it. But now we get to talk about Team Liquid a little bit here. We should be going on a short break soon for the next series. But Team Liquid, they had a very strong performance last season. In the end, they were eventually...
Made it to the finals.
Yeah, they made it to the finals. They were stopped by the Clem Crusher in Ryung. Ryung did put a stop to him. And again, Ryung abusing something that, I mean, is known. And that is the fact that if Clem were to have a weaker matchup, it is TVT. You know, TVT is where he can sometimes fumble a little bit. And that is also Ryung's speciality. And that's where I'm looking at Spirit. And I'm curious if Spirit may be Psystorm's answer for Clem.
That's a really good point that you've brought up here. So it makes me think that maybe they will just save Spirit for when Clem does pop out first. Like, obviously if he's going to be the first player, then if he doesn't drop a map in the first round, then I 100% think they're going to be sending out Spirit. But yeah, I think they will probably aren't going to be sending out Spirit first. They're going to wait until Clem is revealed.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to kind of hold that close to the chest. Another big option is MaxPax as well. Like, the reality is that MaxPax can be quite comparable to Clem at times. I say at times just because Clem is on fire. Like, straight up, he is, he is our world champion, right? Clem, he is the reigning world champion. He is the one to beat. And he's in terrifying form at the moment. And it's even if MaxPax has beaten Clem in the past, it's still not going to be an easy one for anyone.
Yeah. That was MaxPax beating Clem before he grew his hair out.
True. That was before Clem had unleashed his inner beast and gone crazy at EWC with that longer hairstyle. And I'm sure he's yet to cut his hair. That's the other thing we have to be careful of. I know that Clem was on vacation. He was in Greece, right, for a little bit as well, like spending some time outside of the game. And I'm a little bit concerned. Has Clem had a haircut? We're gonna find out once we see it.
Not, gonna find out. Eventually, it's so weird looking at that old signature series that Shopify did back in the day, when he literally, I would say shaved head, but it looked like he had just cut his hair and only had a little bit at the top.
We'll see. I see someone asking in the chat about the schedule. For those that are curious, World Team League, the playoffs, is a 3-day event. This is going to be a 3-day event. This is day 1, of course, and we just wrapped up with the first best of, and up next is going to be Psystorm Na'Vi versus Team Liquid, and that's going to be the final series of the night. Tomorrow is going to be the winner of that series versus Shopify Rebellion, and then followed by the winner against WBG versus Weibo Gaming, and then the final day is going to be when we feature Basilisk and Team Vitality.
Oh, Basilisk plus Showtime.
Yeah, big Basilisk.
Get it right. Yeah. Big Basilisk versus Vitality. Yep, 6 rounds or 6 matches in the playoffs, and so it's divided 2 per day. 2 today, 2 tomorrow, 2 on Sunday.
Yeah, so 2 matches every day. This is also why standings...
Plus the show matches.
Yes, and this is also why the standings during the round-robin group stage are so important, because as you can see, depending on your placement, you literally skip days. You skip days of the playoffs, you just get seeded further and further deeper in the finals, in the playoffs, so it is a pretty big advantage.
Yeah, massive one. Gives you a little bit of extra time to prepare, to rest, to make sure that you're not having the same fate that had befallen Oliveira in the past, and also Clem to an extent last season, where literally the team made it from the first round of playoffs, and then they just had to keep going day after day after day.
Yeah, it was just tiring.
When they
right?
were the ace players, day after day after day, yeah.
Yeah, like Clem and Cure and the Team Liquid Boys went through the ringer last season. The season before that was Oliveira, if you recall, with KyZ. I guess that was like 3 seasons ago at this point, with KyZ Gaming, where they did something similar right after Oliveira won the World Championship as well. So we could see a similar story.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm always surprised whenever I see Team Liquid in the early rounds of the playoffs, but then I look at the playoffs themselves, and I look at the other teams that did make it to kind of the mid and the end stages, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's some big teams. It's definitely.
Yeah, big teams. Especially Basilisk.
Not wrong. But for those that are curious, we are going to have some downtime. We're going to be going on a break. I believe they are getting a interview ready. I believe they're going to be having a winners interview with maybe Gerald, with the captain of Psystorm. Then after the interview, they're going to be going.
He's not in the train, yeah.
Yeah. After that, they're going to be getting ready for the next round. So we're going to be going on a bit of an extended break. Take this moment to get some snacks, get some food, get some water. We are merely halfway through the broadcast tonight.
Indeed, we are. Stay tuned. We're gonna have at least another 4 rounds ahead of us.
See you soon.
好的，感谢2位专业解说给我们带来的精彩讲解。那接下来就到了赛后采访环节，让我们赶紧来连线一下吧。好的，欢迎我们的 MaxPax 以及 MaxPax 的老板。那首先第一个问题，我们是想先问一下 MaxPax， 就是在对阵 Nico 的时候，你用了2把 All In 战术，都轻松防住了。当时你是如何来应对他的这个 All In 战术的呢
？So first question is from MaxPax. When facing Nicoract, he went all in twice, but you just stopped him with the robotic facilities. So it totally worked. Why did you choose to do so?
With the robotic facility.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how I normally play in PvT. It's just a safe opening 4-gate or 3-gate blink.
OK， 就是说我本来在那2把就是造机械台，就是我平常打的一种常用的打法，是个其实蛮安全的一种战术。
好的。那另外一个问题就是你在对阵到哥布林的时候，你没有用你经常用的这个双开 VS， 而是用了双开 VR， 防的也非常的好。当时为什么开局会选择转变成这个战术呢
？When facing Goblin, you chose to do double robotic facilities. Why did you do that instead of the double stargates?
I played a robotic facility because he played a blink. If you are up against a blink, it's better to have an immortal than having extra stalkers and voidways.
是因为他会选择采用这个闪烁战术嘛？那我觉得这样的话可能会对他会更稳妥、更起作用一些。
对于对手的一个了解程度也是非常的高。那我们也是很欢迎到了这个 MaxPax 的老板来接受到我们的采访。我们也想问一下你，其实 MaxPax 是一个非常有个性的选手，实力也非常的强。当时你是怎么最早把他招募进来的呢
？Okay, next question is for KJ. MaxPax is a very powerful player. How did you recruit such a unique player from the beginning?
Well, we acquired a small team, and he was part of that team, and that was the big draw, was to, get that team and get MaxPax because we saw a ton of potential with him. He was a young player then that was really good, and now he's, one of the best players.
当时我们组了一个小队嘛，然后后来这个组大队的时候也是看得到他身上有巨大的潜力，觉得他一定会有所成就的，所以就这样他就来到我们队伍了。
确实非常的独具慧眼。那么在接下来一轮，你们要面对到的是 Team Liquid。Team Liquid 有一位刚刚在我们石油杯夺冠的非常强劲的选手 Clam。我想问一下 MaxPax 和 KJ 对于下一轮你们要面对到 Liquid 做好准备了吗？
So next game you'll be facing Team Liquid, and they have Clem, the EWC 2024 champion. Are you ready for him?
Who's that question to?
Are you ready for the game facing Team Liquid and Clem?
I assume that question is for MaxPax. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. It's gonna be tough, but I believe we can overcome the obstacle.
MaxPax 说，我是准备好了，我觉得不会很轻松，但是我有信心能够战胜。
那我们在石油杯没能看到的 MaxPax 对阵到 Clam， 我们也许在今天的 WTL 上就可以看到了。希望两支队伍都可以给我们带来精彩的表现，也是期待他们后面的比赛。好的，非常感谢两位接受到我们的采访，希望你们的比赛取得好成绩。Thank you.
Thanks for the interview, guys. Yeah, that will be all.
好的，那么也是接受到了我们的采访啊，因为 MaxPax 这位选手也确实是实力非常强劲，也非常的有个性。我们也是希望能有更多的机会，更多的了解到这位选手，也非常感谢他的老板和他一起来接受到了我们的采访。那我们接下来的比赛也是马上就要开始了，千万不要离开我们的频道哦，一会儿再见。